America's premier off-road racing series resumed 2 weeks ago at Aonia Pass MX in Washington, Georgia. This week, the racing continues at Maurice Sportsman Preserve in Society Hill, South Carolina. GNCC is back. The circumstances are not the same, but the racing isn't any different. Walker Fowler holds a perfect season as we head into our 5th round of racing. Who will be the next to take him off the top spot? The battle ensues. The 2020 Camp Coker GNCC is next, live on RacerTV.com.
Are you ready to go GNCC Racing?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 5th round of the 2020 Grand National Cross Country Championship Series presented by Specialized at AMA National Championship. I'm Rodney Tomlin along with Mikey Waynes, and I'll tell you, Mikey, as we get set to roll into this Camp Coker Bull at GNCC, what a big historic weekend we've got. Number one, this is not the weekend we normally are scheduled to be here. Number two, we're just lucky to be here in reality.
You're absolutely right. Weather, I think, might play along with us this weekend. We've had some rain in the last couple days. Little rain here on Saturday, but I don't think anybody cares. We're just all happy to be back out racing.
Well, I tell you, through the first 4 rounds, it has been nothing but Walker Fowler. He has been the one to beat. Whether he gets started in the back of the pack or whether he gets started in the front of the pack, Walker is the one to beat. He lays it down, and everyone has been coming gunning at him. And I'll tell you, Bryson Neal has really put together some good shows. The only thing is he had a bad first round with the issues that he had there at that first round, and then also some issues at this past round. Now, he did get 4th place at this past round, but he's not anywhere near in the point standings that we would expect him to see, and we haven't seen him challenge yet physically for that win.
You're exactly right. And, of course, Hunter Hart, another guy out of the XC1, outside of his first place finish at Ironman last year, his first podium of this season, taking a 3rd place just a couple weekends ago in Georgia. Look to see some big things out of him today.
You know, and speaking of the young guns, one other rider that really impressed me at the last race at the Bulldog GNCC, John Glotta Jr., our rookie in the XC1 class. Now, he opened up the season with a 6th, but he's been struggling just to be in the top 10 in rounds 2 and 3, but he comes back solid in round 4 with a top 5 finish, and if this gets his momentum going, he could be a threat again for the top 5 and maybe even looking at a podium.
He's got to hope, but man, Rodney, I don't know. Walker Fowler's starting to look like that Walker Fowler of 2017, where he won all but one of them. And then what else?
Yeah, you got to think. I know that it may be still early in the season, but you do have to start thinking perfect season at this point. At least we as a race fan do. And I don't want to jinx him on that, but hey, we'll just drop that in there just a little bit. Now, I'll tell you, as we take a look at the point standings right now, I mentioned the point standings and didn't see Bryson Neal exactly where we expected to see him. He is back there in that 4th place position, but when you take a look at the points, they are kind of tight. So at this midway push of the championship, this could start to sort things out, and we could start to see maybe somebody start to claim that 2nd place position. But I know Cole Richardson, he's been solid all year long. He's in that 2nd place position. He's really only had one bad race in that 8th place position. So he's going to be the bridge to gap, I think, to get to that 2nd place position. If you can get to Cole, then of course you've got a long road to hoe if you're going to think about the championship this year. It's going to be interesting, no doubt.
That's exactly right, Rodney. And how about the XC2? Drew Landers comes into this weekend with the points lead, but finishing 2nd down in Georgia. Austin Abney finally getting that center of the box position. He's got 2 second coming into the prior to that one with the 1st place finish last weekend. I look to see these 2 guys battle today.
Yeah, and I kind of expected, I thought, well, since Walker's doing it, his teammate Drew Landers been doing it, I always thought we were going to see a 4-peat for this season for Drew Landers too. But yeah, he does come up, that was a great battle. It comes up a little bit short in that 2nd place position. But the one that I have to say may have impressed me, and the rider that we have given a little bit of accolades to in the early part of the season, Brandon Owens,
yes,
the 246 Yamaha rider. That kid comes into this season, there's a lot of hype from some people that say he's going to be the next guy to challenge Walker Fowler. But the one thing is, we haven't really necessarily seen it so far. Is he getting steam rolling now, and are we going to start seeing some things out of him?
You're exactly right. And, of course, you can't help but mention Ronnie Rush. He's got one podium finish this season, coming off a 12th place finish. Look to see him do some big things today as well.
You know, this could be anybody's race, especially with the conditions this weekend. We've been dry a lot. We've had a lot of rain leading into this weekend, so the conditions this weekend could warrant some big changes as far as these finishes are concerned. So it's going to be pretty exciting as we roll into the Camp Coker Bull at GNCC.
Rodney, I'm ready. Let's take it down to Jared Bolton with the track description.
Thanks, guys. Man, is it awesome to be back racing. You know, we had a race a couple weeks ago down in Georgia. Didn't have Racer TV there. You know, cut back, keep everything's kind of low key. But we're back this weekend. Beautiful, beautiful facility here at Camp Coker. We did get a ton of rain this week. If this was anywhere else, I'd be really worried about it. But the magic of this sand, look at this. That is actually perfect dirt right there. Now, down in the woods, there are some places that are going to get a little swampy. You're going to see some guys get really muddy this weekend. There's going to be some challenging spots. But there's also a lot of spots that are really, really good out there. And that's the magic, like I said, the magic of sand. You can do whatever with it. It can get as wet as it wants, and it actually gets better. The course here is a little fast in places, and it's a little tight in places. You throw in that mud, it can make things really exciting. Really could see a good battle down to the finish both days for all sorts of great racing. Back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Jared. Looks like this Camp Coker Bull at GNCC is right on target, man. What a racetrack.
You're absolutely right, Rodney. It's the weather with the rain, the track layout. Things look like it's going to be pretty gnarly for these guys this weekend.
It most certainly will. And you know, there's one thing for folks that may be joining us that are not accustomed to off-road racing and GNCC-style racing. They may be in for something a little different, especially if they're in tune with motocross. It's just a little bit different, Mikey.
You're exactly right. We've got a lot more freedom, a lot more bald eagles. It's everything you love about America. No, it's 2 hours of action-packed, the premier off-road series. These guys race for 2 hours on the ATV side on Saturday. And like we always say, that's just for the leaders. There's also amateur riders out there in the mix with our pro guys. So lappers come into play. Those guys are racing longer than 2 hours. Then you fast forward to Sunday. It's a 3-hour race for the bike guys. And a lot of our pro athletes running heartbeats per minute, 180 range to 200 range.
Probably
it's
some
insane.
of the most well-conditioned athletes in the world, especially when you look at the longevity that they have to keep those heart rates up that high. And it is just an amazing thing to be able to know what they go through in those 2 to 3 hours while they're
You're
out
exactly right. And we're bringing it all to you live here on RacerTV.com. That's it for now. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Rodney Tomlin will be back with the start of this GNCC Bullet.
When you crave the canyon passes, rocky trails, rutted tracks, the podiums and personal records, it becomes part of you. The choice now is, do you become a wanderer or the wanderer? You just need to ride where you belong.
Complied. Now, if you have a mask around your throat but not around your face, you're not going to get the virus from having it around your throat, so please just pull it up, and put it around your nose. Like the guy holding the Moto T's umbrella back there. He looks really cool with a bandana. There you go. Thank you. Just patronize just a little bit. Good news, we're going racing at High Point Raceway in 2 weeks. The GNCC will go to Pennsylvania. We will park and pit like we do the Mason-Dixon round across the street. It is our goal to race over on the High Point side. We're going to cross the road and race the High Point side. We're still working on permits from the Highway Department, but full transparency, that is our intent. And you will see that announcement on Monday that we're going to Mount Morris in 2 weeks. 2 weeks later is, I believe that's the June 26, 27 date. It is our intent to be at John Penton. That's the intent, to be at John Penton. And then on the July 11th date, which is what was our rain makeup date, it's our intent to be at Ironman. Now, this will not be the Ironman. It will be the Hoosier. The starting line more than likely will be different. Remember, there's crops in the ground, so we'll be doing a different system there. And then we will return to Ironman on its regularly scheduled date in the fall. But that is right now our plan. And as always, the plans are subject to change. We're very fortunate. It's people like you that are doing the right thing that when the press comes out and turns a bad story into good, that gets us into the next state and will get us into the next state. So I don't like wearing this mask any more than you do. But we'll say I look better with my mask on, and maybe that's true. Thank you so much. Let's have a good time racing. If you see the Marie family, tell them thank you. This place is pretty special. Hammerin' Hank Marie is racing here tomorrow. It'll be the first time that he got on a motorcycle and raced in about 35 years. He last raced a GP in Europe. He was one of Team Green's first riders back in the 80s, and they love motorsports. They feel that you are family, and what an awesome place we get to come and go racing. So if you see the Maries, tell them thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Tim Cotter, and welcoming everyone once again here to the starting line from RacerTV.com and across the World Wide Web. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to ask you to please turn your attention to the starting line once again, where Mr. Ricky Towery is, as he asks a blessing on today's race.
Thank you, Rodney. Hey, let's go, Lord, and have a word of prayer together this afternoon. Heavenly Father, we once again, we do thank you for bringing us all back together safely so we can have a little fun together. The sun's come out. It's turned into a beautiful day. The rain fell earlier and maybe some slick spots out there still. We just ask you will be with these riders. Lord, keep them safe. Let them go out there and have a good time together. Once again, we thank you for the Marie family for letting us use this piece of property to enjoy our sport. Be with them and continue to bless that family. Lord, watch over our military men and women in all parts of the world. Do be with our leaders that they will make the right decisions for us. Lord, we just thank you for being in control of everything each and every day, because we know everybody here has got their own special prayer requests, and you know what that is. Lord, we've already had so much fun today. We just ask you let us have 2 more hours a day of fun and friendship. Lord, just be with us and take us all home safely when it's over with. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you would, please turn your attention to the first turn to our flag. Of course, remain standing, stand at attention, remove those caps, and cross those hearts as we honor the greatest nation in the world with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And there you have it, folks. The stage is set, and GNCC racing about to resume here in Society Hill, South Carolina. The midway sweep of the 2020 season as we begin round number 5 of 13 rounds of racing. The midway sweep I call 5, 6, and 7. And here we are, my friends, right at racing here in 2020. And rolling to the line first today, he rides aboard the number 1 with 4 race wins so far in 2020. Riding aboard a WFR GBC Fly Racing Factory Yamaha from Rogers, Ohio, Walker Fowler. Rolling to the line second today in points, he rides aboard the number 4 from Edinburgh, Pennsylvania on an action off-road Geely Energy Racing Kenda Tires backed Yamaha, the Coltrane Cole Richardson. Third place in points, riding aboard the number 7, fresh from a podium from Newfield, New York on HHR Maxxis Fly Racing Ithaca Recreation Sports Yamaha, Hunter Hart. Riding aboard the number 2, he is 4th in points from Bidwell, Ohio on a CST Hauser Racing Waynesburg Yamaha, the Bidwell Bullet, Bryson Neal. 5th in points aboard the number 3 from Sunbury, Pennsylvania with 75 wins and 6 championships to his name on a Phoenix Honda Racing Honda, Chris Borich. He is 6th in points, riding aboard the number 5 from Casca, Pennsylvania, a JMR GBC Elka Moose Racing Honda, the Cobra, Jared McClure. Riding aboard the number 11, he is 7th in points. He hails from Akron, Ohio on a B&R Motorsports GBC HMF Engineering Yamaha, Josh Merritt. Aboard the 521, 8th in points from Waverly, West Virginia on a McGill Mafia Ober Tires LSR Moose Racing Honda, the Gator, Adam McGill. 9th in points aboard the number 712, fresh off a top 5 finish, a rookie from Waxhaw, New Jersey on a Pierce Performance GBC Tires Fly Racing Yamaha, John Glotta Jr. Riding aboard the number 10, he is 10th in points, featured on the event t-shirt this weekend from Aurora, Ohio, celebrating his 26th season as an XC1 Pro. Backed by GBC, Fly Racing, HMF, and Fracture Yamaha, Johnny G, Johnny Gallagher. Rolling to the line next, aboard the number 406 from Windsor, New York, on a Devin Feehan Racing GBC Fly Racing Honda, Devin Feehan. And last, and certainly not least, aboard the 741 from Myersville, Maryland, on a Wolf Racing 9.2 FTR Graphics Yield Cycle Barn Suzuki LOWW, Wesley Wall. And there you have it, folks, our starting lineup for this, my friends. The FMF Camp Coker Bullet GNCC as our riders find their way onto the starting line here now, and Ricky Towery finds his way to the front of this first turn and lets the riders know the warm-up session is underway here now for these riders. as we set the stage for today's battle. As we said, the beginning of the swing of the midway point of 2020, and we are so fortunate to be here in this place today and be here racing in the GNCC Racing Nation. All attention focused on Ricky Towery in turn number 1 as he begins to orchestrate these starts today. Our maestro, you will, and conductor of ceremonies as he lets these riders and the entire world know 1 minute before we go GNCC racing here in Society Hill. The riders beginning to make their final few preps. The rituals they go through as they prepare themselves for a 2-hour intense battle through sand and mud and another element today, the heat of South Carolina. As we turn our attention to Ricky Towery. Shut them down, guys. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. We are less than 30 seconds away from going GNCC racing. And I got to ask you, South Carolina family, race family, and crew members, are you ready to go GNCC racing? That's pretty good, but I can barely hear you. I'm going to ask you one more time. South Carolina, are you ready to go Camp Coker Bullet GNCC racing? 10 seconds. And road number 1, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling at this FMF Camp Coker Bullet GNCC. $150 up for grabs here in the Whole Shot Award. It's the number 4. And Josh Merritt in the number 2 spot right behind him as we kick things off here. So it is Cole Richardson grabbing the early lead in this as we go to the XC2 Pro-Am class. Drew Landers, Tanner Walker, Charlie Dunn, Kenny Schick, Brendan Owens, Nick Royalty, Levi Cohen, Noah Mickelson, Wyatt Wilkin, Dylan Walraven, Austin Abney, and Ronnie Rush ready to roll in 10 seconds. And around the first turn we go for these XC2 Pro-Am riders. In the turn 2, it's going to be the 622 Dylan Walraven. And I believe that might be the 14 of Drew Landers battling for the early lead in this one. Junior A22 plus class. Nick Davidson, Justin Miller, Jeremy LaDon, Caleb Edwards, Zach Wright, Alex Elliott, Dylan Taylor, Brad Enderall, Justin Collins, 10 seconds. Kyle Percy, Justin Eisen, Tyler Miller, Jonathan Crayenbull, and Brody Livingood. Oh, a little bump and grind action around the first turn, but it's the former motocross racer Jeremy LaDon on the LaDon Racing AGX Designs NPR suspension back ride. The Van A 30-plus class. Coming up next, Big Papa P, Jeff Pickens, Brad Whitehead, Chris Conklin, Aaron Hendershot, James Green, Neil Pitts, Tommy Kuntz. Also, Zach Phillips, Todd Mascala, and Michael Lancaster in 10 seconds. Big Papa P, Jeff Pickens. Look at that. Oh, mercy, maybe not. It's a dogfight down to that stripe, the whole shot stripe, the 21. Jeff Pickens taking the early lead. Todd Moscala, the Marlboro man, nearly stealing that lead away as we go down to the senior 840-plus class now. 10 seconds. Michael Hayes, Hardcore, Jeff Harvey, also Shane Worth, John Salsa, TJ Barrett, Brian Foltz, and Mark Batson. Off and rolling we go. Who's going to have this early lead? Look at that bright yellow machine. It's the 416, no, the 410, John Salsa. Salsa out of Warwick, Rhode Island, Spider Graphics Fly Racing GBC back ride. College Hayes, 16 to 21-year-olds coming up next. 10 seconds. Dalton Keys, Grayson Eller, Mike Rice, Gregory Troy, Trey Seifert, Davis Brinson, Jesse Parker, Cody Forrester, Chase Allison, Seth Wilson, Gavin Jenkins, Corey Vanderliner, Colton Buck, and Mikey Nichols. The 5'10", Gavin Jenkins from Laurelville, Ohio on a Moose Racing. Graphics by Edge, CS Heating and Cooling Packed Yamaha. One of those OXCR boys coming to the light, it looks like, here today at the Nationals. Junior B 22+ class coming up next. Nick May, Darius Dillard, Luke Lohan, also Chris Lee, Clint Watson. Looking at Ethan Hott, Justin Cotter, Corey Pancake, Zachary DeNoble, Jake Allball, Sean Newhouse. 10 seconds. DJ Walensky, Travis Raphael, also Stephen Martin, Brant Barna, and Max Bittinger off and rolling. .188, Nick May grabbing the early lead out of Monongahela, Pennsylvania to be in our Motorsport GBC backed ride. Bet B 30+ class coming up next. 10 seconds. Nathan Tickle, Daryl Short, David Kite, Jackson McGee, Ben Dunlap, Cody Holcomb, and Cody Stewart. Rounding that first turn. 8:13, Cody Stewart from Pleasant City, Ohio, BNR Motorsports, IMS Products, and GBC backed ride. Senior B 40+ class coming up next. Turning our attention to Ricky Towery. He tells these riders on this next row. 10 seconds. Jason Limley, Greg Phillips, Scott Wilhelm, Joe Rusku, Daniel Dakota, also Ivo Pahalik, Bobby McCauley, Kenneth Yarbrough, Nick Lambruno, and Robert Stevens. Around that first turn now. 582, Nick Lambruno from Morgantown, West Virginia on a Bruno Racing Lone Star Morgantown Power Sports backed ride. And the College B, our final start of the day, getting set to roll next. 10 seconds. Dan the Man Johnson, Seth Blake, Lucas Kapler, Braylon Shakira, Colby Clark, Caden Klonks, Bobby Duker, also Ramey Wilkinson, Levi Myers, Dominic Stevens, Derek Bilkey, Trey Redmond, Jackson Fleming, Ben Neville, Michael Snyder, Josh Turner, Hunter Gotzi, Alec Nelson, Chance Hickey, Malachi Staten, Caden Ryan, Colin Dunn, and Grant Harkriker. And it's the 14 of Dominic Stevens from Warren City, Pennsylvania on a Shups Off-Road EBC Brakes Evans Coolant Bag Machine. All right, folks, don't forget, everybody on the motocross track, you got to exit right now. Once again, they'll be coming through on lap 2 here in a few moments. Motocross track off limits, and that's going to do it for the start down here on Racer TV. Hey, folks, we'll be back with more from Society Hill. What kind of battles do we have shaping up? Stick around to find out. GNCC Live continues after this.
This guy wants to try some fries, French fries. You know, you got all these guys that are like, oh, I'm on this meal plan and I'm training and programming. Like, I literally drink a Dr. Pepper with my dinner and I'm eating fries and grease. I mean, I don't really care. I like French fries. I'm Wesley Wolf and you're watching Racer TV.
It's a big world out there. How do you choose to see it? When you crave the long canyons, rocky trails, rutted tracks, and lonely highways, they become a part of you. Podiums and personal records, we choose it all. Because life is about moving and feeling. It's about being connected to the adventure. Some just never pull the trigger. They keep waiting, wondering what it means to wander. It's a big world out there. You just need to ride where you belong.
Inside every Yamaha lives the heart and soul of a competitor. The DNA of a champion. When you ride with us, it revs your heart and becomes a part of you too.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
Even when you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. With over 40 years of experience in motorcycle sales and service, we know racing. Our inventory of Yamaha motorcycles, sport bikes, dirt bikes, ATVs, and side-by-sides is extensive and constantly changing. Stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZs. It's why we ride. We are American motorcyclists. We are members of the American Motorcyclist Association. Racers, fans, and crew. We come together for this sport we love, to race together, to grow together. We start young, and not so young. We race motorcycles and ATVs. We become friends, we become family. We compete for weekend bragging rights and national championships. We make memories on the toughest off-road courses in the country and on the best motocross tracks in the world. Some of us aspire to the speed and poise of road racing or the fierce competitiveness of American flat track, and we honor our greatest champions in the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Through it all, we cheer, we win, and we lose. We are racing. We are the AMA. Race with us. Be part of the greatest sport in the world. Be an American motorcyclist. Join us today at www.amajoin.com/join-now.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Mikey Wayne's here, joined alongside Landon Wolf, and this is the FMF Camp Coker Bullet here in beautiful Maury's Sportsman Preserve here in Society Hill, South Carolina. And hopefully you did not look away from your screen. Wait, already getting stuck. Hopefully you did not look away at your screen during the commercial break. We did the picture-in-picture. We saw some action there. We're going to get to that here in just a second. I believe to get us going, I think we're going to look at a start of that XC1 start. The whole shot. Yeah. There we go. Maybe. Well, while we wait on that, Landon, you had a chance to race some of this track this morning, and from everything I heard, I was kind of off in BFE. I didn't really get to see much of it, but from what I understand, the 4-mile marker, the whole track, we got a ton of rain in the last week.
Yep.
And it was chaos for you guys. Major bottlenecks out there.
It was. They're down here in this soil down here, there is no bottom, so we just kept digging and digging and digging. The holes just kept getting deeper and deeper. Here we have the XC1 start. Right-hand start this time. Cole Richardson actually gets bumped by Devin Feehan, turns him around perfectly and gets him right in the right spot. I think that's Josh Merritt that was in second. John Glauda Jr. snuck by him there in the second corner, and Wesley Wolf also off to a really great start.
That's exactly right, man. I think it's pretty safe to say these guys are sick of seeing Walker Fowler take wins here. We got a lot of hungry XC1 riders out there. And then, of course, the XC2, these guys get off and rolling. Dylan Walraven, I believe, taking the whole shot in that one.
Yeah, it's funny because some of these parts that we're looking at right here we have the XC1 class coming through.
Who is out in front? Wesley Wolf.
Still. Now, this is a replay.
Right.
This was at the 5. Another mud expert, Johnny Gallagher, Walker Fowler, Josh Merritt, I believe, Adam McGill, Borch. Ooh, that's not a good start to the day.
No, that's a rough start. It's only going to get muddier and nastier from here, bud.
Yeah, it sure is. And it is gnarly out there. Like you were saying, the beginning of the loop isn't bad. There's some mud spots like this out in the field which aren't too hateful, but the 4-mile marker, it's a downhill section, super gnarly. A lot of bottlenecks in there in the morning race, and then you actually have a little bit of a break, which is where we're at right now. And run some field sections, run some clear cuts, some new stuff that we've never run here, and it was really, really great. But there towards the end of the lap, I'd say from the 7-mile marker into the finish line, there is some major wet areas that are going to cause a lot of troubles today.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And taking a look here at that track, Landon is talking about the Yamaha Racing track map. I don't think they took any of those sections out for the pro race. I didn't get a chance to hear the riders meeting, but looks like we've got about a 12-mile course here.
Yep. So I think they changed the track up just a little bit, just from like you say. I mean, as you can see on the camera here, it is gnarly. Some of the sections were impassable, so they changed it up a little bit. Ran in a couple different trails, and then I believe from the 8 to the no, that's not right. I think that out where the 7-mile marker is, I believe that's some dirt bike track out there. So they might not run all of that, but right there in between the 8 and the 9, you can see you run around 2 old ponds that were out there.
Yeah.
They had some signs out there that said Daytona 500. It was just a real fast section. Here it looks like we have the pros coming through. I believe we missed one already, but that's Adam McGill coming through. Before him, at the last camera point, was Wesley Wolf, Johnny Gallagher, and Walker Fowler. There we have Johnny Gallagher. Now we're just hearing Adam McGill was in 2nd. There's Wesley Wolf, so maybe we didn't miss anybody. Walker Fowler might have been the one out front that we missed. Yep, so that was Walker Fowler out front. But from second to the back of the pack, all the way back there, man, they are tight, and you can see they're already in some mud there. John Glauda, there's clearly some chaos going on out there already, because we saw Johnny Gallagher in 2nd. He's back to maybe 5th already. John Glauda had like a 3rd place start, and he is at the back of the pack.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's going to be like this all day, I think.
There was they were kind of single file there. If you guys were watching during the commercial break in that picture-in-picture, they were coming through there into some of the open sections, maybe that Daytona 500 area you were talking about, actually. And it was pretty well single file. But it's funny to me how well Johnny's doing, and I made a joke this morning. I said, Walker looks a lot like the Walker Fowler of 2017, where he won all but one, the X Factor, and that was Johnny. Well, we had all this rain in the last couple days. There's Austin Abney on screen. And I thought, wouldn't it be wild if Johnny comes and maybe Johnny heard me. I don't know. I'm not taking credit.
I think he hears everything.
He does hear everything.
This would be a good track for Johnny. It's a brutal track, though. I mean, it's funny because you look here on camera. I mean, it's dry. It's sandy. It's getting whooped out. The track is getting brutal in places, but there are other places that the track is just getting wide and it's getting deep and can cause a lot of problems. Now, once they get into some of the lappers, it's going to just be double trouble for them.
That's exactly right. So this is going to be the one, like you said, I think the biggest thing today with the weather we've had, and the way you talked about the track, there is no bottom here.
No, there's not.
So it's an equalizer.
It just keeps getting worse.
It just continues to get
worse.
Lap
after lap, it just keeps getting worse. You start off thinking wider lines, and then what I saw there at in the morning race, you know, we each lap we just kept getting wider and wider. In the mud holes we go wider and wider. But then when it came down to the last lap, when the finish is on the line, there were a lot of people saying, all right, I'm hitting the center again to see if I can make it through. And I think that could definitely come into effect here because, it takes a lot of time to get out around all these mud holes. But ooh, looks like that guy went a little wide there. He sure did.
Scared our camera guy a little bit. He said,
Hotline
oh,
now.
Snap.
Hotline.
One of the big things I saw in the AM race, especially out of the women's pro class, was the time difference. It seemed like every rider was 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes apart. I mean, out there on an island by themselves, not able to key off another rider. But then when it was all said and done, because of the way the track had turned up, because of the bottlenecks out there, we saw those huge gaps just go by the wayside. Do you think we're going to see more of that in this afternoon's race where if Walker Fowler gets a 1 minute, 2 minute gap, could we easily see that just completely accordion and collapse?
I think if you got a huge gap out there, and it's probably what you saw in the women's class, I think if you got a huge enough gap, you could really take your time, really make sure you take all the good lines to where you're not getting in any trouble at all. At the same time, if you're in a heated battle with 5 other guys, you're going to be taking some chances.
Yeah.
Some could pay off, some could really bite you. So I think it could go both ways very, very easily.
Well, we know there's a lot of guys out there who, like you said, are tired of seeing Walker click off these wins. Bryson Neal had a great race going just a round ago, and here they come into the finish, and there he is, Walker Fowler.
That's one I want you to check on when they come
front.
through is Bryson Neal. I didn't get a visual on him yet.
I didn't either, and that was kind of what I was going to talk about. He forced himself into that situation with the mechanical error of having to work his way up through the pack as the race went on. And we'll see if he can get a good start here today. I know a lot of folks pick him to be the guy.
Yep.
And then Hunter Hart has been in the conversation a lot lately,
Cole,
too.
But right now we have Walker and
second.
McGill through. McGill can't be but, what, 10, 12, 15 seconds? And then
according to timing and scoring, 16.367, the difference.
And there's Bryson right there. So he is second, looks like third. Jared is in fourth, Jared McClure. Those two are together. That looks like Johnny, Wesley, Borch, Merritt, Hunter Hart. Oh, I missed one. Now I feel bad. Feehan was right there as well. We are seeing a little bit of separation already.
Yeah.
How about McGill though, coming out charging and feeling himself a little bit, trying to get this ball rolling. This could be a good day for him as well.
He camped out a lot in the top 3 a couple weeks ago in Georgia. Maybe that gave him a little spark he needed. He did mention after the race he probably should lay off so much of the crown.
Yeah.
Maybe
I don't think he did it.
No, probably not.
He probably talked about it and then nothing was done.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it. And yesterday was Adam McGill's birthday.
It was.
So,
big happy birthday to Adam.
I think he's, 50 now?
Yes.
No?
Yeah,
somewhere
49
in there.
anyway.
49.
I tell you what, we're looking here at this beautiful property. I think you guys might have already talked about this place a little bit, but I'm looking across here. We're steaming in this little tent we got here, and we got all these kids jumping off the high jump into the pond over here. What a nice facility this place is.
It really is incredible. I feel like this is the one, when it's on the schedule in the future, this is the one a lot of folks have not been to.
Yep.
Can't encourage you enough to come out. There's definitely no shortage of stuff to do.
Just for spectating, too. I mean,
for sure.
Perfect. That's why I tell all my friends, if you want to come watch a race, this is the one to come to.
That's exactly it. Some of our XC2 riders checking in now. Drew Landers checks in the number 1 spot in the XC2 and 7th in the overall. So Drew Landers already working his way up into the pack as far as the overall is concerned on the time adjustment. Kenny Schick checks in the number 2 spot in the XC2. How about that?
Skipped last race, comes out right into second place this one.
He says, no problem, I got it. Noah Mickelson in that number 3 spot in the XC2. Ronnie Rush checks in the 4th place position with Brandon Owens in 5th and Wyatt Wilkin in 6th place in that XC2. But yeah, Drew Landers, man, already on the time adjustment, jumps up into the number 7 spot. That is a strong start for Drew.
Very impressive. He's off to a great start. Now they're about the 1 mile mark right now. And then do we have a camera on the motocross track?
That I don't know. I know it was kind of tricky for them to get there this weekend. We do.
Oh, okay. we do. So the motocross track, which has not been run yet today, and I know it is pretty soft out there too. That should be at about the 2.5, I believe. So we should be catching them there soon. And get to see a little bit of motocross action in the middle of this woods race.
So Johnny Gallagher in 5th in the overall after 1.
Wow.
That's strong.
JG. Hunter Hart not off to a great start like he was expecting. For the record, Hunter Hart loves the mud. He has been smiling ear to ear since we got here. Just cannot wait. I tell you, look at the ruts coming into the finish line. I mean, it is catching a couple people. Here we are. They are on to, so actually they get to run the second corner again. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. So Walker Fowler out onto the motocross area.
It looks like he's already putting some distance between him and the rest of the guys.
He's a machine.
It's insane.
I say it every weekend.
I know,
I'll
but
just keep saying it.
It was one of those things. I did that little, silly YouTube video where I talked about the race, and I was like, it
wasn't silly.
I feel bad because sometimes we turn it into the Walker Fowler show, we turn it into the Caleb Russell show.
Yeah.
But
you gotta talk about
these
the
guys
winner.
are good.
Yeah, they
Holy
are.
crap!
They're just
Look at
so
the distance
talented.
between him.
There's a big gap in between 2nd and 3rd too.
Yeah.
I mean, Adam has really put some time on. There's a bigger gap in between 2nd and 3rd than there is 1st and 2nd.
Yeah.
So I believe they actually run 2 different sections of the moto track. They run a couple corners, head into the woods for just a very short period of time, and then they'll come back out onto the motocross track, run that whoop section, which I'm not sure if it's officially called this, but I call it the 10 Commandments.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's
I
think that's a Loretta's thing, but we're switching it up. So we should have them there real soon. Here we have Bryson and Jared McClure. Jared McClure coming off not one of his best races, so he's looking for a good finish this weekend.
That was perfect. Whatever you just did, it fixed it.
And him and Bryson, I know they do a lot of racing together. They go over to France and whatnot, so those two hooking up might be a good thing for them. There we have Johnny Gallagher putting it in. Chris Borch right on him. Wesley Wolf. Cole, is that Cole? He's dropping back a little bit on us. Did Cole come through? He's not on the screen.
That's a great question.
Because he
Cole Richardson is not checked in, so unless his transponder isn't working.
That kind of looked like him, but I'm not sure. Here we have Walker Fowler back here onto the whoop section here. Here's an inch. Oh, there's some water in there too.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
How about it? Get you some.
Yeah, there's some water in there. Cleaned his boots right up. So they are back into the woods now, so they will tie in to where they started the race at, just after where Walker just went through. Be interesting to see if Adam can hang on. Looks like Adam, total different setup off to the right side of the whoops. Wesley Wolf, keep an eye on him. I know he was in like a 4-way battle for a position. I'm sure he'll come hopping through here pretty quick as well. Here we have the Bryson Neal, Jared McClure battle going on. Split line a little bit. Jared's heading to the right. I don't know that there is a smooth way to get through there, but they're doing their best. On and off. And here we have Rodney Tomlin coming into the booth. Welcome.
Wow.
You warm?
I'm hot, man. I tell you, that's what I was going to say. I think I got a little overheated. I mean, the extra time I spent waiting on the start today after clearing the track this morning. Stood out there, got a little bit warm. Wow, are we watching motocross?
Yeah.
Wow, this is so cool. I haven't seen this kind of a shot or this kind of appearance personally since the late 1990s when I was down here at Camp Coker announcing motocross racing.
Really?
And Larry Ward was here, believe it or not, on
I didn't
that
know
day.
you did that back then.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
Yeah. Actually, I'm all over the world, buddy, everywhere.
Oh,
man.
I know it. I know it, Rodney.
So, anyway, wow, what a start to this day today already. I've been listening in on what's going on. That first lap, I think kind of like what you guys faced with, the track is so deceiving in so many areas, and talking with people and stuff, you're going along, the track is beautiful, it's just, you're thinking, oh, wow, the flow is great, and then all of a sudden,
bottom falls out.
Yeah, wow.
So true. You hit the nail on the head, because there are sections out here, and we've seen some camera shots of it already. There's our XC2 leader, Drew Landers. we've seen some shots of it already. There are sections of the woods that are fantastic. But like you say, you come up on some sections that the bottom has just fallen out. But yeah, to fill you in, like you say, we've had a pretty hectic first lap. Wesley Wolf was in the lead for a little bit.
Wow.
Johnny Gallagher was up into second.
Wow.
Since then, Walker has made the move into the lead and start putting some time on him. But we have a two-way battle for third, and then a big battle for, I think, fifth all the way through 10th.
This could be an interesting day. I mean, I heard you guys talking about this morning's race, so we saw it already this morning how quickly things can change.
Yep.
Bottlenecks, people getting stuck. I mean, like you said, the bottom falls out. The rider could be going along and then just frame out, and it take him a while to get out of that circumstance and situation. And he better hope that there's somebody, a mud police someplace, or a family member or a crew member someplace close by that happens to be walking by that they can reach over and pick him up. But you were mentioning there a few moments ago, Kenny Schick.
Yeah.
How about that?
Kenny Schick.
How many years I have heard that this kid is about ready to bust one loose, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, he rides some good races, but he hasn't busted it loose like everybody says he should. I mean, there's got to be something behind what's going on with Kenny Schick. I don't know why he doesn't prove it at the racetrack or at least at a GNCC, but there's something about Kenny Schick that has so many riders concerned that if he figures it out, he could be trouble to deal with.
I think I know most people might not know Kenny Schick too well, but I think he's a pretty good candidate for most interesting man in the world. And for anyone that doesn't know, if you go to Kenny's house and ride with him at his house, he'll beat Walker Fowler on his track. He flies.
I've heard this.
He flies. And, he's just ready to bust it loose. Skipped last race, didn't want to go back down to Georgia. And here he is running second. So here we have the XC2.
Yeah, he's currently
10th
place in the point standings. Like you said, he missed that one race. You have to wonder if he had scored a few points last round, he could probably be up there close to a top 5 position.
Yeah, I mean, if he would have got 20 points at the last race, which I think he's more than capable of doing, that would have put him right there with Ronnie Rush in the 4th place spot.
So depending on how the rest of this season goes, we'll keep an eye on Kenny, especially if he starts getting the good results after missing that one race. That it could have been what he needed, sitting at home listening and knowing what was going on out there. It could be that fuel to the fire that he was needing out there. By the way, just a quick rundown. I think we've already touched on it, but Drew Landers is in that 7th place position overall. 2nd place, Kenny Schick is 11th place overall. Then we see Noah Mickelson, and I would assume that puts that ATV motocross racer, AMA Pro ATV motocross racer now into the 3rd place position. This has got to be one of the better starts. I've seen good starts up, but he's not completed a lap this strong so far this season after winning the College A class last year. And with talking with him, I think that the step from the College A to the XC2 program was a little larger than maybe what he was anticipating.
Right.
Kind of like probably what a lot of riders are feeling from the XC2 to the XC1. And I think people that don't get it, those are 2 big steps. From College A to XC2 and from XC2 to XC1. Those are huge steps.
Huge steps, yeah, there's a big difference in the classes. Which it's funny, though. You wouldn't, given the conditions, you wouldn't really think this would be a motocrosser's track.
Right.
Wouldn't really think, but he's really doing good. But like you say, it's a big bite to take when you jump classes like that. But ride with those faster guys and just learn each weekend.
Ronnie Rush is there, and there's that name Brandon Owens back in that. I believe that would put him 5th place position. Brandon, another rider that I've kind of touted a few times. I got a lot of messages in the offseason to keep an eye on this kid. They say he is the next threat for Walker Fowler. Even though he's just now starting to hit the XC2 ranks, they say people are saying this is the kid. We haven't necessarily seen that out of him yet. We've seen glimpses of that and some good speeds and stuff. We'll see what today brings for this kid. He's currently running at 14th overall. Wyatt Wilkin, who had a good race at the OXCR last week, I think he had some issues and ended up breaking down. He was running second or third behind Bryson Neal there last weekend. Dylan Walraven, Tanner Walker also. Now here's the thing, Jeremy Ladon, 18th place overall, former motocross racer, is now GNCC motorcycle and ATV racer. But Jeremy Ladon leading that Junior A 22+ class. He is 18th overall. He is our top non-XC1 or XC2 rider. We call it the top amateur right now. Vet A, Jeff Pickens is 19th overall. That would put him second in top amateur honors right now. And Dylan Taylor, who is about 19 seconds behind Jeremy Ladon, second in the Junior A class, is third in top amateur, 20th overall, but second in class. So that gives you an idea how those things are starting to break down, and we'll start looking at some of these classes in a few moments. But as we get ready for our leaders out here, I believe near mile marker number 5, this is our monster mile we're coming up on.
Yep, we just had a couple of them come through. We missed, I think we missed the first couple guys coming through. The first guy on screen that we had was Chris Borch, but saw a couple other guys in there. Johnny, there is Walker Fowler out in the field section, so he should be at about the 6 to 7, I believe.
Wow, Walker, is he starting to stretch his legs, or can we expect to see that happen now? Is that one of those tracks that would be conducive for Walker if he can get out front, and you think he can run away on this one? Or
we talked a little bit about this. Yeah, I mean, if he could get a nice comfy gap, he could really take his time and make sure he's picking good lines the whole time. But I tell you, Adam is really riding well today, hanging in there, taking a look back, making sure nobody's closing in on him too hard, and he's got a really good gap on third place.
Yeah, so starting to open up some pretty big ones there. Fowler, McGill, Bryson Neal's the next rider we expect to see coming through.
Should be a Bryson Neal, Jared McClure battle.
Big tires, by the way, big tire choice. I noticed that.
I think was Walker running them? I never confirmed that.
I didn't notice when he went by, but yeah, definitely Adam is running those. I would almost have to think that
I
Walker
think pretty
would
much
be,
everybody is, but I wasn't sure on Walker.
Back out here at the FMF PowerPoint, we'll take a look at some of our other classes coming up here in just a few moments. We'll be hitting an area that we'll be able to make that happen in as far as our leaders on the racetrack.
We haven't got an official count on laps, but I know their first lap was only about 20 minutes just because it's a shorter lap. They started about the 3-mile marker, so I would guess it's going to be a 5-lap race today unless things really start to go south. And
well, that's what happened
the laps get slow.
In the morning. You guys were running like, what, 26, 27-minute lap on the first time. You guys dropped 3 minutes on the first lap, and then it was more after that. So.
Yeah, I think my first lap was like 27 minutes, and my last one was like 32 or something. It was a big difference. Track was really falling to pieces out there. So,
well, I think what the biggest part, there was a lot of obstacles and riders out there.
It was. Yeah, they were sitting in all the main lines. You had to make new ones, find your way around. But
there's a pond coming out of that turn. You can see they're skirting the outside of that before that hit that whoop section. Boy, if that was clean, you just have to wonder how strongly they'd be able to drive into this rhythm section coming through this.
Well, it's like I was saying, I think before you came here, Wesley Wolf being the motocrosser he is, normally I've seen him here in the past, he'll double through all these, when it's dry, but not this year. It ain't going to work.
Yeah, it's a little, conditions are a whole lot different. By the way, our leaders due in, it says in about 2 minutes and 51 seconds. So I'm going to say add another 2.5 to 3 minutes to that. So I expect 5 minutes, 6 minutes or so. We should be seeing the leaders at the finish line. That give me a chance to run down a couple of these classes real quick. Keep an eye on this TV. If there's anything to report, go ahead and chime in on, and don't be afraid to stop me. But Senior B40 Plus class lets you know what's going on there. Scott Wilhelm out of McMurray, Pennsylvania, a 2-second lead over Nick Lambruno, who got the whole shot in that class aboard the 582 from Morgantown, West Virginia. Daniel Dakota, former motocross racer himself, the 391 out of Lansdale, PA, in third. In fourth place, Bobby McCauley, the 449 out of Elkins, West Virginia. Fifth place, Kenny Yarbrough from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Let's take a look at our top 5 in the, there's the XC2 Pro-Am class again. It's Drew Landers, Kenny Schick, Noah Mickelson, Ronnie Rush, Brandon Owens. Then it's Wyatt Wilkin, Dylan Walraven, Tanner Walker, Nick Royalty, and Levi Cohen rounding out the top 10. College A class, Chase Allison. This is one that I like to keep an eye on. We had a torrid battle between the leaders last time. I believe it was Trey Seifert, or maybe it was Dalton Keys. Either Trey or Dalton and Grayson Eller. They had an amazing battle last time, and I know that both of those guys said, I've been wanting a battle like that, but I don't know if I want to go through that again for 2 solid hours. But right now, Chase Allison leading this one out of McClellantown, PA, 2.6 seconds over the 5:10 of Gavin Jenkins out of Laurelville, Ohio. I believe Gavin got the whole shot on this, and I haven't seen Gavin really out at the GNCC a lot, unless I'm thinking wrong here, but I'd say he's an OXCR guy, Ohio cross-country guy. Cody Forrest of the 423 from Warren, Ohio. The 501, Seth Wilson out of Smock, PA. Davis Brinson, the 416 out of Hendersonville, North Carolina. rounds out your top 5 in that one. Then we see Jesse Parker in 6th, Trey Seifert in 7th, Grayson Eller in 8th, Dalton Keys in 9th, and Mick Rice rounding out the top 10. Interestingly right now, it is some of our key players outside the top 5, even 7th through 10th place position. You look back there, Corey Vanderliner is another rider that could be a force or a threat to reckon with out here. He's all the way back in 12th place of class, so this is really shaking things up, I believe, out here.
Yeah, I believe he had a really, really bad start. I think he came around I was out here, quarter mile in. I think he was a solid 30 seconds back. Must have had troubles firing the bike up, but yeah, definitely changing up the pace of how everything's going.
Top amateur rider, junior A class leader Jeremy Ladon with a 19.4 second lead over the 351 of Dylan Taylor from Fairland, Indiana. The 317 Alex Elioff from Valley City, Ohio is 3rd. 4th place Brody Livingood on the 831 out of Bowling Waters, West Virginia, and a 541 Justin Eisen out of Metanora, Indiana, rounding out that top 5. Then we see Nick Davidson in 6th, Caleb Edwards in 7th, Justin Miller in 8th, Brad Enderoll in the number 9 spot, Tyler Miller the 644 rounds out your top 10. How are we looking on that pro class coming in? Not yet. Fed A 30-plus class. Big Papa P. He's 19th overall. He is currently 2nd in top amateur honors out of Shamokin, Pennsylvania, with a 26-second lead over the 275 of James Green out of St. Mary's, West Virginia. 120 Aaron Hendershot out of Mansfield, Ohio, in 3rd. Chris Conklin, the 35 out of Sistersville, West Virginia, is 4th. Brad Whitehead, the 25 from Sinking Spring, Pennsylvania, is 5th. Then Mike Lancaster in 6th. Todd Muscala, who actually almost got an early lead in that one, was 7th. And Neil Pitts rounding out the 8 in the Bet A class.
I believe we might be having Walker Fowler jump on screen here. And no, I was close, but could have sworn it was going to be him. They should be coming this year, I think, is close to the 9, so they should be here very shortly.
All righty. So looking next at the Senior A class while we watch for the leaders. T.J. Barrett leading the Senior A class out of Morrisville, New York on the 451, about 28 seconds over the 410 of John Salsa from Warwick, Rhode Island, who got the whole shot. The 52 of Michael Hayes from Rocky Face, Georgia, and 3rd Brian Foltz from Sharpsville, PA. The 530 and 4th and 5th Mark Batson out of LaSalle, Michigan, the 636, and Hardcore Harvey, the 84 out of West Union, West Virginia, rounds out the 6. Then as we take a look next, the College B class, Ramey Wilkinson. These guys started on the very last row. The 402 from Glasgow, Kentucky, leading Braden Secure. The 326 out of Clearfield, Kentucky is 2nd. Hunter Godsey out of Chesterfield, Virginia. 624 is 3rd. Trace Redmond, Sharpsville, Indiana, 424 and 4th. And 425, Jacob Fleming from Street, Maryland, is 5th. 6 through 10 now, Camden Ryan in 6th, Dominic Stevens in 7th, Grant Harkriker, rider in 8th.
There we have Walker Fowler on screen here at the Monster Mile, and he is on it. He's trying to put that gap in, probably going to grab some fuel this lap and wanting to put a little space in.
Mikey Wayne's down in the pro pits, the BP Fuels Pro Row. We'll probably get a word in with him. I know he was wanting to check in with the folks over there at the Coltrane pits to find out at Teely Energy if they know what's going on with Cole, because he started out so strongly, but obviously found some struggles out there after that first lap of racing.
Yeah, real bummer. Like you say, he had such a good start, and I know a lot of people were betting on him to be in the top 3, if not in the center this weekend. But here we have Adam McGill, so Walker Fowler's definitely putting a little gap on these guys, so put a little bit of a timer on Adam. What was the gap in between Adam and the guy behind him at the last lap? Can you tell us that?
Yeah, give me just a second here. Pretty impressive.
Oh, there's Bryson Neal coming in. So Bryson's only about 14 seconds behind Adam.
21 seconds is what we saw the gap between he and Bryson that
gotcha.
week. So
Bryson's
really
closed the gap.
He's closed the gap, but under normal circumstances, Bryson closes a lot faster than that.
Right.
So these conditions really shaking things up, not taking anything away from Adam McGill, but we haven't seen him ride aggressively enough to be in the position that he's in right now, whether it's just by luck of the draw, whether he's feeling it today, likes these types of conditions, the rougher the better and the more rugged, a man's track, if you will. That might be the case for him, but whatever it is, Adam McGill certainly shining bright today.
Here, Chris Borch has gotten to the front of it was the battle for 5th. They were really neck and neck. He's got Hunter Hart right behind him, one to shake. And then that's John Glauda there, I believe. Yeah, it is. That's really on the verge of breaking through. Devin Feehan there. He's had some bad luck in the beginning, first couple rounds, so good to see him.
So pumped for John Glauder Jr. at the last race, getting that top breaking in the top. I know I interviewed him. He looked at me like, "Why are you interviewing me? I got 5th." Dude, you know, you just don't get it, man. You know, you just got 5th place. You're a rookie, and you ran 6th, and you know,
that's a big deal.
That's
there we have Johnny and Wesley Wolf coming through. So I guess that should be it for the XC1 class, I believe.
All right, while we wait for the next class, Drew Landers should be checking in soon. Junior B 22+ class looking like this. Jacob
no,
Allball.
there's Johnny, so I screwed that up. It was somebody else. But anyway, continue.
411, Jacob Allball, West Milton, Ohio, out front of Whittersville, Ohio's Chris Leak, the 342. Harrisville, Ohio, it's the Buckeye boys up front. The 214, Luke Lohan. 4th place at 740, Brant Varna from, guess where, Rockford, Ohio. Sean Newhouse out of Mount Vernon, Ohio in 5th place. Steve Martin out of Greenfield, Ohio. 621 or 721 in 6th. 407, Corey Pank, Columbiana, Ohio, 7th place position. Then out of Monongahela, Pennsylvania, Nick May breaks the chain here as the 188 runs in 8th. 355, Ethan Hott out of South Salem, Ohio in 9th place. Justin Cotter out of Liberty, South Carolina, 392 rounds out the top 10. 80% of the top 10 riders in this class are all from the state of Ohio. Just
Ohio's got a strong presence.
You know,
oh, there's Drew Landers. There's your XC2 leader. I was thinking that might have been Drew up with Wesley. I don't know who that was. We're on a Yamaha. Who am I missing? Who was right with Wesley in the XC1 class? Can you tell us that?
Let's see. As we go back to the XC1 class, you had...
Oh, Merritt.
Yeah, Josh
Had
Merritt.
to be Josh.
Yeah.
Was
that Josh? I know I seen Josh. He's got his motocross gear. He said that he was supposed to race at Aonia Pass, but because he practiced so much in the quarantine, he blew his bike up.
Oh wow. Yeah. Well,
So
that's a good thing that you're wearing your practice bike out. So there is Walker Fowler into the finish line chicane. Pretty cool little finish line area. Makes it a little bit more difficult with the mud and all, but man, they really tried to get some good switchbacks here before the finish line, and really could make for some good battles.
A 19-minute, 44-second lap time for Walker Fowler on lap 1, a 25:35.
Yep.
So
Big
about
difference.
5.5 minutes longer on that on the second lap than the first lap. Now we'll see whether or not that slows down or not. That's the full track right there. It was a 20-minute lap time. He was about 16 seconds behind Walker Fowler at the end of lap number 1. Adam McGill should be checking in here shortly. I'm thinking that gap has opened up more to like a 40 to 50 second lead, maybe even pushing close to a minute by the time he reaches that finish.
I tell you one thing, Bryson is closing in on Adam, that's for sure. Bryson can't have but maybe 10 seconds left to Adam, and Jared's hanging in there on Bryson too. He ain't letting him get out of his sights.
All right, here we go. It is checking in with 2 laps complete aboard the 521 machine. Adam McGill with a 44.5 second deficit between he and Walker Fowler. A 26:03 lap time for Adam McGill. So note that as we see Bryson Neal checking in. 10.4 seconds back. He turned a 10-second faster lap at 25:53. Still slower than Walker Fowler right now. Sounds like Mikey Waynes might have some updates coming from Pro Pits.
Yeah, down here in VP Racing Fuels Pro Row, Walker Fowler comes into the pits. Pit crew looked like they were ready to roll with fuel and goggles. Walker went ripping right past, said, no thank you. See you in a hot minute. No one else into the pits yet.
Wow, and that's kind of interesting, and I'm going to point out the fact, a couple things. I realize we are only, when we look at this, totally elapsed times, that's probably not a bad move on Walker Fowler's part because he's only 45 minutes into this race when he came through. You think about it in lap times or in laps and stuff like that, but you also got to take into consideration the conditions right now. Obviously, I think you could say, yeah, fuel mileage is going to be a lot lower today than under normal circumstances because they're having to do a lot of digging into that sand out there, so it's going to rob a lot of
Rodney, McGill into the pits. Bryson Neal right behind him. Neal did not pit, so Bryson Neal moves ahead of Adam McGill by about a second.
So Bryson Neal used that pit to his advantage. Didn't have to make a pass on McGill at all.
Very strategic, yeah.
Do you have Borch coming through the finish line? That's one rider I did not get my eyes on.
Chris Borch has not
here's
come
his
to the finish.
pit crew here, and I know I believe he should be next, so I thought he was in front of Hunter, and I know Hunter's already come through the finish line. I could have just missed
Johnny
him.
Gallagher nor Chris Borch have checked in at the finish line yet.
Well, I know Johnny was further back. Has Hunter checked in?
Hunter has checked in. Hunter Hart is 5th place right now. John Vlada Jr. in 6th. Wesley Wolf in 7th. Josh Merritt has checked in 8th place.
There he is. There's Chris. So he is in. His transponder is not working.
Yeah, must not work. All right, so sorry for anybody that we may have alarmed there for Chris Borch.
Yep.
Look at that sand all over that helmet. He's been eating lots of it out there today.
Yeah, he sure has, but he's back in the game. So it looks like somebody there pitted right in front of him and might have gotten around him. We should get a pretty good view of that out here on the motocross track here soon.
So elaborating on the fuel mileage, only 45 minutes in, you know, you have to think that here's the way it works. You either go an hour and 50, if you only stop one time, you go an hour and 15 minutes on the last 2 laps, or you go an hour and 15 minutes on the first 3 laps, I guess.
Right. Well, they should have 3 laps left, which I'm actually surprised, and I didn't think they would pit this early. I would rather pit at an hour and 15. That way I have most of the race behind me. I can get some new goggles, some water, and all that.
I think, but the thing about it is, I think these guys may not be looking at it like that. They're thinking laps at this particular point and not really probably thinking about the time, but that's the one thing that maybe they should be looking at is the time on the racetrack at this point.
Right.
Some guys think ahead. Obviously, Walker Fowler.
There we have Walker Fowler coming out onto the motocross section.
Yeah.
What was the gap? Did you ever mention what the gap he had on Adam was?
Yeah, 44.5 seconds.
Okay, so now it's actually even bigger because we'll mark 42 seconds right there. We'll get a time on because he did not pit and they did. So
here's the interesting scenario of that. Now that Bryson Neal's gotten by, and we talked about Bryson's not really gained any time or anything on Walker, and he only gained 10 seconds on Adam. Maybe now he's got a little bit more reason to kind of run like the rabbit, if you will, away from Adam McGill, but also try to play the hound and chase the other rabbit that's ahead of him.
Yep. So hopefully we can keep the camera right there on that jump and see how far. So Bryson also did not pit. So they're pretty even right now. Adam did, Bryson did not. Bryson and Walker did not.
So what was the gap?
So I haven't got it just yet. We're pretty much, well,
1 minute.
55 seconds. Yeah.
I know it was, so he's actually lost a little bit of time then. On Walker Fowler. So, you know, hey, who knows what's going on out there on this track? I think it's a survival race. I know last weekend Bryson Neal at the OXCR race that I've mentioned a couple different times actually lapped the entire field all the way to second place. Yes.
I knew he went there and won. I didn't know that statistic.
I heard that he actually lapped. I guess Wyatt Wilkin and Damian Hawkins. Hawkins, who's riding the schoolboy class, or 250, was running 3rd place behind Wyatt Wilkin and Bryson Neal. He had mechanical issues. Wyatt Wilkin had mechanical issues, and I think that maybe Bryson had a problem too, but he was so far gone at the end. By the end of the race, it didn't matter, and he was still able to win. But he was telling me, the guy he passed is telling me, he said, I think it was Vanderlander. He said he went by me on the last lap like I was sitting still. He said about a mile before the finish line.
He's a ripper. I mean, he is a this XC1 class is stacked this year. I mean,
it is.
From 1st to 10th, 12th, whatever it is.
I know a lot of new faces here this weekend. I'm talking to a lot of guys from down south of the border that's never been around a GNCC, and they don't quite get it. They're like, you know, you think that the pro class, that everybody would be wanting to be a part of the premier pro class, and we're like, and it's not so much the case. It's a dogfight up there, and it's hard to get any recognition. It's easier you can get. A lot of these riders can do better from the second row, even in the overall, than trying to battle with those guys head to head.
Right. It's tough to battle when you're, and you look at these guys that are running 9th and 10th in the pro class, and you're like, you got 9th and 10th, but it's really not the case. I mean, this pro class is just stacked this year, and it's hard to beat any of them.
Yeah, it sure is.
So another timer on them, 53 seconds in between Bryson and Walker.
Just a quick update on your overall top amateurs. Remember, we were talking about, and I don't know if our college riders have checked in yet with 2 laps complete, so they have not. But right now, Jeremy Ladon is showing himself as a top 20 overall rider in the Junior A class. So he would be your overall top amateur, at least for the moment. We'll see what happens. I know the college A class was way back in the starting order out there today.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they were the last A class, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so they all A classes and all B classes rotate the starting order each race, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, they somehow or another, they got a pattern that they follow, and they go back or go up.
I think you just keep going back a row,
then you go back to the front.
Then you go back to the front, yeah. So College A was the last of the A class this weekekend.
Which makes it, I think, maybe even more impressive of what we saw out of the College A riders last race. Whenever you look at the big picture with them finishing, what was it, 15th overall, I think, 2 weeks ago at the Bulldog between.
I believe so. What was it, Trey Seifert in 15th overall?
It was Grayson Eller, and then Trey was in the 16th place overall.
Yeah, right behind him.
Yeah.
I knew they had a pretty good battle going on. But, yeah, I mean, when you look that we have, I think it's, 11 pro riders, and you got a College A guy in 15th, that's very impressive.
That is very impressive. I think that would have been like 3rd or 4th in the XC2 class, if I'm not mistaken. They were looking at lap times, and I think that Grayson, I think, may have even beaten Noah Mickelson in the XC2 class, which is a teammate on the Phoenix Racing Honda team. So he's had a week to rub that in on him, a couple weeks to rub that in on him.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he probably took advantage of it. And that might be part of the fire and fever that we're seeing out of Noah Mickelson here this weekend in the XC2 Pro-Am class.
This might be, that looks like Walker there. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Ripping through. So a little fun fact here. Back here is an old motocross track.
That's an old Supercross track.
Supercross track.
Larry Ward's old practice Supercross track.
And like right here where that actually looks like Bryson, I think. But whoever it is, that's the whoop section they just went over. And then right here is an old triple that used to be there on the left side of him. So very cool. Tucked back in the woods like that. And pretty cool to see how it's still standing.
For sure, as we roll through now, and
that might be Walker. I might be wrong. I can't quite tell.
It did look like a 2 on his back there for a moment, but it does look like Walker. His
I would think Adam would be right behind because Adam was close with Bryson.
Right.
So.
Well, I'm going to go with you on this one. I'm out on a limb and saying it's still Walker as well. He's got the white helmet. I don't think that Bryson wears it, or does Bryson wear a white helmet?
I don't think so. Right there where he's at right now, that's the 4-mile marker. And man, I wish that drone could fly down in those woods. That's a downhill section. Absolute chaos in there. A million lines to choose from, some deep ruts, and just hard to pick your way through. But
still getting to see some
as you
glimpses.
can see, these pro riders find their way through pretty well.
Now, you guys probably would too if you didn't have the track completely scattered with with other morning class riders who come through there.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a fair share of riders stuck in sections like that this morning. So that's why we started just a little bit late today. Just had to get all those guys that were sunk down to the fenders out of the mud and back into the pits.
I bet when you went on that last lap, you were probably just shaking your head.
I saw a couple guys, and I mean, it looks like all 4 tires of the 4-wheeler have fallen off, and it's just sitting on the frame. And it's just pretty impressive how deep it is. So here we are at the 5. Like I said, that was the 4, so we should be seeing them here real soon. There's Walker Fowler right now. So he has made his way to the 5 quick. You can tell he's just smooth as can be.
He is, I mean, just silk, man.
Yep, so we should have about a minute, just short of a minute, back to Bryson and Adam McGill shortly after that.
How come you aren't that smooth, man?
I don't know. I tell you, sometimes in the morning last week when I'm running from Cody Collier all race long, I'm like, just do what Walker does. Just be smooth. Just leave him. It didn't work.
It's hard.
Well,
there you go. That's a good point. Point taken right there. You're battling with the Cody Collier. It's hard to be smooth whenever you got somebody breathing down your neck like that.
Yeah, it was 90 degrees, just burning up, and I swear to God, I was thinking in my head, just be smooth like Walker.
Do you like it like that? Do you like those kind of battles?
Yeah, it makes it interesting. I mean, in the middle of it, I wish I was just riding by myself when I'm burning up and sweating. But no, at the end, it's good to have that. There we have Bryson, Neal, and Adams. You see, they took the center line right there, and it's deep, deep.
Yeah.
And that's hard on the bike, hard on the equipment, hard on your body. And you can see, like I said earlier, Walker's out to the lead, and he's picking those smooth lines and being smooth.
Yeah.
It's just what he does.
Being Walker smooth.
Yep. He's and man, it's just a brutal track here. This should be Chris. Nope, Jared.
Yeah.
Jared. So next should be Chris.
That rider actually sitting and waiting for the pro rider to go by.
Yeah, he said
he's no dummy.
Come on around.
He's probably already been about ran over by a few of those guys already.
Yeah.
A monster mile. May not always be a mile, but boy, it's a monster.
It feels like it. There's Hunter Hart. So Hunter Hart must have gotten in front of Chris.
Yeah, I think that we noticed that.
Yeah, that must have been in the scoring. So Hunter Hart, then John Glauda right there, and then Chris.
Yeah, boy, I tell you, Glauda and Hunter Hart, I think they're going to push each other to new next levels. I really believe that.
Yeah. Well, they used to battle back in,
Yeah.
I guess, XC2, right? They were neck and neck. I think Hunter moved up a year early. Glauda ran XC2 last year and won the championship. And yeah, you look here, you look at Walker. He is just outside of the mud. Just
Yeah, I mean, he is riding a completely different racetrack than everyone else. You can see he's staying completely out of the main line. What restrictions of where he needs to be on the racetrack, but the way he rides it, what I mean is he's riding a different racetrack.
He's got his minute lead, and now he just has to hold it there. He doesn't need to win by.
And the thing about it is, even going farther out and making the track a little bit longer now is probably faster because it's smoother and you don't have that chop and that slow down.
Right.
And
well, and it's easier on your body at the end of the race. You got more steam, and there's a lot of advantages.
We see obviously it's sand, it's soft sand. We had a lot of deep sand down in Florida. Tell the folks here the difference in the sands. I mean, it's this is not like Florida sand.
That's actually interesting. I never really thought of it like that. There's Bryson Neal on screen. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sand, Florida sand is like a, I guess it's more like grainy or sugary.
Yeah.
And the water, it's never. I don't know that we've ever really had too much mud in Florida. Not at the track we're running right now. This place, we've had sections in the past that were wet, and usually it's pretty dry here. But you just keep digging and digging and digging. So if you do get stuck, staying on the throttle and trying to dig your way out is never going to work because you just keep going down. You never hit a bottom. You never get down to rock. You never get down to clay. It's very, very different from Florida.
And there's no palmetto roots.
No, which is a pretty big bonus.
But it's still rough.
These things are terrible.
And that's probably a big part of it there. So as we watch this one unfold, man, I tell you, Walker Fowler really just making it his race and his racetrack out there. Bryson Neal up to the number 2 spot as he gets around Adam McGill after McGill stops in the pits. Bryson Neal doesn't stop. Neither does Walker Fowler, by the way, so that means they'll have to stop this time around. Jared McClure in that number 4 spot. And then, of course, Hunter Hart rounding out the top 5. So we'll be back with more coming from the Camp Coker Bull at GNCC right after this on GNCC Live.
Even when you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. With over 40 years of experience in motorcycle sales and service, we know racing. Our inventory of Yamaha motorcycles, sport bikes, dirt bikes, ATVs, and side-by-sides is extensive and constantly changing. Stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZs. It's why we ride.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
Rodney Tomlin along with Landon Wolf and Mikey Waynes. And, of course, as we check out the carnage on the racetrack out here today, it has certainly been a well of a race day, and also a lot of things going on. I want to say congratulations to Sean Mingus, our moto hero. He's been a GNCC racer since 2017. He's an EMT and firefighter for 12 years, and also just I believe also in the Army before that. So just want to say thanks to Sean and all the great efforts that he puts out. And, of course, thank you for being our moto hero here at the GNCC, the Camp Coker Bullet GNCC. That right there, the story that is probably the story of a lot of people today. Sucking up water, sucking up mud, machines not running for whatever reason, stuck, high-sided, high-grounded there, whatever the case. There's a lot of challenges. And as Landon Wolf was pointing out there a few moments ago, this is not your traditional kind of northeast mud where you have rocks and you have clay and different things that you can eventually dig into and you start getting traction. That's not the case here in the sands of South Carolina, here close to the ocean. We're only an hour and a half from Myrtle Beach, due east of where we are right now. So, you know, we're not far from the East Coast and the Atlantic Ocean. So there's a lot of sand in this soil out here, and it's making for a lot of challenges for these riders here today. And we'll be keeping an eye on how things continue to sort out here. Again, Walker Fowler leading Adam McGill. Actually, it's Bryson Neal in second, then Adam McGill in third. They're kind of nose to tail and kind of close for that second place position, or was at least that last check. Jared McClure in fourth, Hunter Hart rounding out the top five. And folks, don't count McClure out, or excuse me, count Hunter Hart out for a podium position finish here right now. I know that when you look at the big picture, he's about 5 minutes, or no, he's only about 50 seconds out of a top three position. 43 seconds behind Jared McClure, who's only 5 seconds behind the battle for third at one point. So we can probably say that we can be looking for some pretty cool things going on there. The 703 we saw him going through there just now, and try to make sure that that wasn't, no, that's not who I was thinking it was. Maybe it was. Let's go down and check one more. There is our leader, Walker Fowler, out here. That was Austin Abney, the 703, 10th place in the XC2 Pro-Am class, by the way. Abney has been having some issues. He hasn't completed his second lap according to timing and scoring just yet. But we did just see your leader, again, Walker Fowler, going through this section of race course, and he's got about a minute lead over the rest of the field here as we take a look at some of our other classes after 2 laps complete in that Junior A class. You can see that scrolling on the left side of the billboard there. Thanks to our good friends at Motorcycle Mechanics Institute. Get there smarter, faster. And MMI, a great supporter of Racer TV and GNCC Racing. We just want to say thanks to them. 2 great locations. They're out in Arizona as well as down in the great state of Florida. And go online and find out more about Motorcycle Mechanics Institute, because those folks will help you to the next level. Not everybody can be a racer, but if you want to be in the racing industry, that is a great way. There is your second place ride, the number 2, the Bidwell Bullet, Bryson Neal. Again, a lot of real estate between he and Walker Fowler, but not so much back to the McGill Mafia ride of Adam McGill. And there is Cole Richardson, and oh, what a heartbreaker for the Cole train, sitting second in points coming into this one. Very consistent, the most consistent behind Walker Fowler leading into this one. And Mikey Waynes, what a heartbreaker. He's out of this race. Not sure what happened to that Action Off-Road Teely Energy Racing ride, but he has certainly found some issues. He was running, well, we saw him drop back there at one point, so couldn't really figure out what was going on with him. Now we know. I think lap number 1, I don't know that he finished lap number 1. No, he didn't finish lap number 1. So that's why he's been stuck out in the woods trying to get back in this whole time. So we'll catch up with some of these other classes in just a few moments as we watch some of these riders checking through with us right now. And that's Hunter Hart right there. And it looks like Hunter Hart may have caught up to Jared McClure. And was that John Glotta in the mix of things? Maybe not. Glotta had a little bit more of a gap back. No, Glotta was right there with him. So Hunter Hart and John Glotta, I believe we just saw coming through this 11-mile mark section of the race course, or at least this section of the race. I don't know if it's the 11-mile marker. I've seen the 11-mile marker there a few moments ago, so I don't want to confuse you. I'm confusing myself, it looks like. An hour and 10 minutes into this race, 2 laps complete, and working on lap number 3. Our leaders due in any time. Minute 14 seconds is what the clock is saying, and remember, we were nearly 6 seconds longer on lap 2 than on lap 1. We talked about it with Landon Wolf just a few moments ago, the possibility and likelihood that even lap 3 could be longer. And Mikey Waynes is standing by in the pits with an update on what's going on down with Cole Richardson.
Hey, Rodney, thanks. Had a chance to catch up with Cole for a little bit there. Obviously not doing an interview like we normally would for these reasons, but Cole said it was, he thinks it's in the motor, wasn't even able to get the 1 lap in today. He's very, very disappointed. He said, I got to believe these guys were in for it today. So he literally just in the background there said, next one. So look for some big things out of Cole Richardson come round, what, 5? I've lost track.
It'll be round 6.
6, there we go. See, that's just the way the season's gone.
Yeah, that's right. We are on the midway swing of it all, Mikey Waynes. Thank you for that update. And, you know, I don't doubt what Cole was saying, because the way he took off that starting line out there a little bit ago, he certainly was poised to do something great here today at Camp Coker. But Walker Fowler due in here at the finish line anytime, literally anytime. And there's Fowler making his way through the final chicanes, I believe, leading into the finish line region. This will be for lap number 3 complete. We are an hour and 11 minutes into this race. What will that do for us? 25. I think they're going to have to go the 5 laps. I think it's going to be a little longer race today. It might even bridge past the 2-hour mark when, if it's all said and done, with a 5-lap race. But to get the proper amount of racing in and the time, there, the 2-lap card is out, so 3 down, 2 to go. This will be a 5-lap race, just like we calculated. And that, like we said, 25, 50 more minutes. I actually put us right at that 2-hour mark, so maybe 2 hour and 1 minute, 2 hour and 2 minutes. So, wow, how does that work out like that? But 2 hours is going to seem like a very long race today. And, you know, we talk about counting laps, and that's what I was talking about earlier about riders. It's lap 2, so it's time to pit in the mind of a lot of those riders. They're not thinking about time, they're thinking about laps. And when they come around at the end of lap number 3 in this heat and in these conditions, their mind's not necessarily on the fact that we've only been racing an hour and 10 minutes. Well, their mind is on, well, I just wrapped up 2. I should be getting a white flag with 1 more lap to go, but they will see that they have 2 to go. But again, they all should be conditioned for this. The only thing different for them might be the heat, the humidity. If they haven't been training down south the last few weeks, that might be the one stipulation that might take them out of the hunt of something grander here today. Bryson Neal checking in 1 minute and 2 seconds back, so a 26.04. He loses another 8 seconds on that lap of racing. Walker Fowler into the pits right now as he is in, he is out. Mikey Wayne's down in there, and Mikey, I don't think you're seeing anything out of the ordinary. A little water, maybe some fresh goggles, and a splash of gas to get these guys back into it. Checking the action now from our Yamaha Skycam as we watch Walker Fowler with that 1 minute and 2 second lead over the rest of the field. And just again, watching how he rides this racetrack, and you can see how most other riders are riding the track by looking at the main lines. Walker, well, there he hits a main line, but he also comes out of it a little differently. So Walker really basically riding the same track, but it's not the same track whenever you see Walker riding it at this particular position in the race. He's got a nice gap, nobody around, and he can pick and choose his own lines. And like we said, smoothness is what it's all about. It may take longer, it may seem longer to go around the outside this time around, but smoother is faster, especially in the sands of South Carolina. I know that sand is always a very tricky beast, whether it be wet, whether it be dry, and whether you be in Illinois, whether you be in Florida or wherever it is, or here in South Carolina. Mikey Wayne, sounds like you got an update, buddy. What's going on?
Rodney, Adam McGill and Bryson Neal, absolute wheel to wheel coming through the pro pits. McGill pits had some water ready for him, fresh set of goggles. McGill said, nope, I'm racing.
Well, looks like these boys each have their agenda, both of them wanting to take at least that second place position if they can't catch Walker Fowler. They don't want to let the other beat them. So friendly rivalry going on between Bryson Neal and Adam McGill right now. One of the kind of young guns, but they're both veterans at this particular point. But Adam certainly with a little more experience, a few more wins under his belt. Bryson Neal still in search of more wins. Still only got like 1 or maybe 2 wins under his belt. I think it's 1, though. I'm going to have to go back and check the history books now. But so Adam's got a few more than that. And you could tell by the way Adam was riding early in the race today, he felt like he might be able to pull something off here today at Camp Coker. So he's continuing to ride like that. He wants something. He wants a win, but he's going to take the best that he can take here today. So we'll be watching the 521. And the number 2 as they continue to battle wheel to wheel, as Mikey Wings tells us, explains to us. Jared McClure in 4, John Galata Jr. in that number 5 ride after 3 laps complete. Chris Borch is 6, Hunter Hart back to 7th now, and waiting on Wesley Wolf in 8th with 9th Josh Merritt and Johnny Gallagher in 10th. We may see Drew Landers moving into a top 10 overall this time around. He was the 11th last time around, leading the XC2 Pro-Am class. This will certainly be interesting to see what does come to pass here for these XC2 riders and the rest of this field. Will the extra lap play mind games for the guys? In theory and in reality, it's no longer race. The race, we've had several 4-lap races where they were right there at the 2-hour mark or even a little over the 2-hour mark. So the time is not necessarily the factor. It's the lap count that might be playing a little bit of friction with some of these riders' minds. And I know after talking with several riders, I can say it with confidence. Not every rider is going to feel that, obviously, but I can say it with confidence. There's a number of riders that do and will right now. And again, watching Fowler out here on this moto track, just lumbering along at his own pace and making things happen here at Camp Coker. As we're going to take a look at some other classes, we see the Vet A 30 Plus class up on the sideboard of the screen now. So we'll take a look at him with it. Jeff Pickens. Also, we got the Hendershot in that number 2 spot. And let's see, we're going to go down to the Vet A. I'm going to check in with him. That's Junior A, Vet A, and there's College B. I'm going to go, I'll just catch up with this Vet A. I want to talk a little bit about this. A.J. Kuntz, hey, 2nd and 3rd place position, the battle that we were talking about. And here it is. We hear about it on the radio, and we've seen glimpses of it on different occasions. But now here it is, the wheel-to-wheel, not so wheel-to-wheel on the moto track as they are a few inches that separate them. Adam McGill has got the advantage over Bryson Neal right now. And amazingly, I don't see aggression out of Bryson Neal. Bryson just does not seem to be riding with the fire and vigor that we normally see him riding with. Not that he's riding poorly or anything today, by no stretch of the imagination. It's just that he may be saving himself for that final lap of racing. I'm not sure if the heat might be getting to him or if he's just trying to baby this machine and try not to break it, because he's had some issues in the past, and you don't want to repeat some of those issues, I guess. So he's just trying to make things happen out there. So as we were talking about the Vet A class, I wanted to back. We got a big change in this one. I told you that Jeff Pickens was leading, but it's actually A.J. Kuntz, Tommy Kuntz, leading the Vet A 30-plus class. Jeff Pickens in second. Aaron Hendershot running in the number 3 spot. James Green in fourth. Chris Conklin in fifth aboard the 35. Brad Whitehead is 6th. 7th, Michael Lancaster 8th. Todd Moscala and Neil Pitts rounds out the top 10. Hollywood, who is one of our official spotters for Racer TV, and if you were at the last race, heard a lot of the updates coming in, just pulls up to the TV booth, covered in mud, head to toe, and said, Bryson Neal just covered my butt. He covered more in your butt, Hollywood. He got you head to tail, head to toes on that one. Going down now, taking a look at our Senior A class. Michael Hayes and Brian Foltz running 1 and 2. There's about a minute and 46 seconds separating those guys. Mark Batson in the number 3 spot. Hardcore Harvey up to 4th now. John Salsa, after the early lead, has dropped to 5th. P.J. Barrett and Shane Worth round out 6th and 7th place position in the Senior A class. As we take a look at the College B class, Ramey Wilkinson and Dominic Stevens. Dominic has moved up a few positions over the course of the last couple laps, I think. He is, turning the fastest lap in the class at a 32.28 with a 39-second deficit. I have to think that Dominic Stevens will be your leader in the College B class at the end of lap number 3 when he checks in about 20 minutes. Ramey Wilkinson again leading. Stevens in second. Jacob Fleming in third. Caden Ryan in fourth place. Derek Bulkey in the number 5 spot. Braylon Secura in 6th. Grant Harkriker in 7th. Levi Myers in 8th. Seth Blake in 9th. And Michael Schneider rounding out your top 10. Junior B class, Jacob Allball is in the Junior B class out front in this one. Brant Barna, the 740 out of Rockwood, Ohio, is second after 2:21 back. 3:42, Chris Leak out of Wintersville, Ohio, another 9 seconds back in third, so that one's kind of tight. Sean Newhouse, the 420 from Mount Vernon, Ohio, nearly 3 minutes back in fourth. Nick May, another 35 seconds back in fifth. And it's Luke Lohan in 6th, Corey Pancake 7th, Ethan Hott in 8th, Steve Martin in 9th, and Max Bittinger rounds out your top 10. In the Vet B class, Ben Dunlap out of Greenville, Pennsylvania, minute 13-second lead over Cody Holcomb from Richwood, West Virginia. That is David Kite, the 321. In third place from Northeast Maryland, Jackson McGee is 4th. 5th is Cody Stewart. Nathan Tickle rounds out the top 6. Quickly, just a story, David Kite, that's David Kite Jr. His dad, David Kite Sr., races in the morning race. But I got acquainted with David's uncle and David Sr.'s brother several years ago. He passed away, Michael Kite did, and they're out here racing in his honor and have been for the past 3 or 4 years. So it's always good to see the Kites out here at the racetrack out of Maryland for sure. Well, folks, right now as we watch things unfold here today, a track that is beating these riders nearly silly. And not only is it physically demanding on them, but physically demanding on the machines out there. You know the mechanics are going to be busy over the course of the next 2 weeks as we get ready for High Point Raceway in Pennsylvania. Unofficially, that's where we're looking to go in a couple of weeks, and that's what we're gearing up for. So those guys are going to be busy, so good luck to the mechanics. Speaking of mechanics, Cody Webb's mechanic from the Sherco, the Factory One Sherco team is here with us. Cody, coming in from, I believe it's Hard Enduro, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be racing a little bit of GNCC, just trying to get his race legs under him. Hasn't had a chance to race any this year, just wants to see what his conditioning is. Originally scheduled, he's going to ride the XC2 class. Well, he's got national championships under his belt. He has to ride the XC1 class. We'll be doing it on a 250. That's pretty interesting. But we catch up with Cody Webb's mechanic here in this week's MMI Motorcycle Mechanics feature.
Hello, I'm Cody Richelderfer. I'm a mechanic for Cody Webb with Factory One Sherco. We're here at the GNCC this weekend, kind of a unplanned event, I guess, but decided to come race since, you know, a lot of his events right now are canceled due to COVID. And, you know, I have a lot of experience here at these races, and we decided to make a last-minute plan to come have some fun and do some training and kind of see where he stacks up. So yeah, we got again, kind of a last minute deal. We had this bike. It was actually going to be a dealer demo. It's an SEF 250. So he's actually not used to this bike. He rode one at his house for about 30 minutes and on the motor track. So that was his extent of getting used to it. But that's a good bike. You don't need to do a lot to it. You know, pretty much we took a stock bike. Our sponsors were really on top of things. They sent us, you know, exhaust. We got bars. We got suspension from Johnny. We got everything just sent in a hurry. You know, the clamps, radar guards, everything we needed for it. And so basically day before yesterday, I just took all the parts, bolted it to a stock bike. And, you know, for this race, it's not really so much about, you don't need every little bit of engine performance as opposed to you want durability, because these races can be kind of brutal. It's kind of sandy here. You know, so we're looking, you know, to get to the mud holes, get through. Reliability is what we're going for here. So yeah, took a good bike and made it a little better, and we're ready to roll.
And be sure and tune in tomorrow on RacerTV.com and check the action, of course, of this two-wheel racing from the Camp Coker Bullet GNCC. Our scheduled airtime tomorrow about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Walker Fowler making his way by a few moments ago. Our focus now on the battle for second, as we saw Adam McGill and Bryson Neal going 2 and 3, and literally it looks like still McGill is back in that number 3 spot. I believe that Neal may have gotten back around him. We'll double check that. They were in some lap traffic there, but I believe that Bryson Neal has gotten back around Adam McGill. Last check that we had a chance to see him, it was the other way around, unless this is Bryson going through now, and I don't believe that was the case, but that was a very hungry rider. That could have been your now fourth place ride of Jared McClure on board the number 5, and if that's the case, we should be seeing John Glotta come through here in the next 15 or 20 seconds or so. McClure was running about 20 seconds behind the third place position, so that was McClure we saw going through, coming out of that monster mile just a moment ago, and we expect again John Glotta to be coming not far behind him, Chris Borich. Walker Fowler out on the moto track now as he is about 11 minutes from the conclusion of lap number 4. But again, we get poetry in motion as Walker Fowler is not pressured. He's able to choose any line he wants to out there on the racetrack. See him use even some grassy areas where people have not even gone yet, just to stay out of the wet and sticky stuff out there, the stuff that is going to suck you in and make your day very, very tough. So Walker very wise in his line choices, and it's something that's paying huge dividends as the race wears on, not taxing nearly as much energy on that rider as well. We are out near the 6-mile marker, if you're wondering. So mile marker number 6 as our next riders coming through. Should be about any time now, within the next 15 seconds. Bryson Neal and Adam McGill. And then Jared McClure not far off the pace, about 10 seconds back behind that. It might even be closer than that, as we've seen some lap traffic in between some of those riders, and if they're in some of those tighter sections, it may tighten that up just a little bit more, and it could stretch things out a little bit more too. And here comes Bryson Neal and also Adam McGill on the 521 machine as they still run in the second and third place positions. Again, looking at this race course, dry areas, wet, mucky, muddy areas out there. Line choices are critical as this race day wears on, simply because the track is getting deeper. Those holes are getting deeper. They're getting more and more challenging. And Adam McGill still hot on the rear grab bar of the number 2 of Bryson Neal as they hit some of these open field sections, some of those wet sections that you can see the riders going from full speed, and you can just see the speed and horsepower robbing sand, just sucking them in and creating that challenge for them here at Society Hill. Rain yesterday, rain leading in through the week. We did get the break on Friday, but it has been a lot of folks are thinking about building an ark. If you ask me, they were beginning to wonder if there wasn't going to be a second flood coming along there, as much rain as we've been receiving out here. Looks like, I believe we still got McClure. Did we see McClure going through there yet? That should be McClure. gone through in that fourth place position. Again, he's about 20 seconds down to John Glotta. That might have been Glotta that we're looking at here on screen. That is Glotta we're watching on screen, I believe, right now. So John Glotta Jr., again, rather solid top 5 position. So stellar performance, 2 races in a row. If you know John, he opened up with a 6th. He had some like 10th and 12th place finishes, or 10th and 8th or 9th or something like that. Not where he wanted to be, not where people expected him. He got that 5th last round. He's riding in 5th again here today. So this is kind of where we expect to see. And even though he's a rookie, putting a lot of pressure on him, I know, by saying that, but that's the kind of talent that he bodes. And that's the kind of talent that we know he is capable of exuding here on the racetrack. So once he puts it all out there, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And though he may not be contending for wins just yet, don't be surprised if he doesn't start striking for podiums here pretty soon. Chris Borge back there. Hunter Hart also not far off the pace. Both those riders within 5 seconds. All 3 riders within 5 seconds of each other. So we may have been seeing even Chris Borge and Hunter Hart out there with Jared McClure and John Glotta also, as it looks like that gap is starting to bridge a little bit, but McClure still got some breathing room, I think, back between he and that 5th place position. We'll know more as our leaders will begin checking in here shortly. We're about 7 minutes out, and we should be seeing Walker Fowler check in, then a minute plus to Bryson Neal and Adam McGill and the rest of the field here at Camp Coker. Checking in with our top 20 overall again. We got Fowler, Neal, McGill, Jared McClure, John Glotta, your top 5 in this XC1 class, and Chris Borge 6, Hunter Hart. And Wesley Wolf was 8th, Johnny Gallagher 9th. Drew Landers was running 10th overall, leading the XC2 Pro-Am class. Then we look back a little further, and 18th place, Jeremy Ladon in the Junior A 22 plus class, leading the Junior A class, and is 18th overall. He's top amateur, I guess you could say, non-XC1 or XC2 rider out there. Nick Davidson, who's 34 seconds behind him, is 19th overall on the 39 machine out of Steubenville, Ohio. He is 2nd top amateur, and Brody Livingood, the 831 from Falling Water, Virginia, 20th overall and 3rd place in the class. So looks like those guys are starting to secure themselves for the overall amateur honors. But once again, let's look at this. We take a look at this College A class. We've got some interest in that one. Remember, we saw some great battles out of that one. Our top runners in the class were basically in 7th, 8th, and 9th place position at the end of lap number 2, at the end of lap number 3. Trey Seifert, who is one of the contenders in this class, up front now. A 3-minute, 25-second lead over the 5:01 of Seth Wilson out of Smock, Pennsylvania, who has another 10 seconds over Cody Forrester out of Warren, Ohio. No sign yet of 4th place Jesse Perker. There's Grayson Eller. Eller just checked in. Sorry. We got Grayson Eller in 4th, and we got Davis Brinson now in the 5th place position. So we do have some changes taking place there for you. 32:03 Davis Brinson just turned the fastest lap by, 28 seconds over, 29 seconds over Grayson Eller with a 30:32, a 32:03 for Brinson. And the next fastest lap was a 30:51 turned by Trey Seifert, your leader. Now he's got some room to work with there, but good to see that Eller and Brinson are finally starting to break away a little bit. And we can do this anytime you want, Adam. I'm sorry. I know we got a few features that we want to get to, but that College A class, man, there is a lot going on in that one right now. Dalton Keys back in the 7th place position. What was that? Okay, waiting on Walker Fowler here at the Monster Mile. As I'm still analyzing this College A class, waiting for Dalton Keys to check in to see where he's at. Colton Buck, Gavin Jenkins, and those guys. This class really intriguing to me this year because of the depth of talent in this pool. It's so much fun to see how this one unfolds. And same thing with the XC2 Pro-Am class. I know that Drew Landers has been the dominating factor in this one this past year, but man, everything going on behind him has been so exciting, and even pushing Drew at times to some limits himself. So really offering up a lot of excitement in several different classes across the board here in the ATV racing world of GNCC. Again, they were running for top amateur overall honors earlier in the race day and back into the top 20s. So chances are it's going to be a junior A guy that takes it, but we'll see if Trey Seifert or any of these other guys can make anything happen. There's Fowler making his way through traffic and the Monster Mile right now. And just kind of looked like a deer, an antelope, just loping through the woods right there, picking and choosing his lines from one side of the racetrack to the other. Deep ruts starting to develop, roots beginning to show out there. The sand is certainly taking its toll on the machines and the riders. It is a rough situation out there. This wetness is allowing these riders to dig even deeper out here in these softer areas, which makes the track even rougher for these riders. So you have to think that at the end of 2 hours, it's going to probably feel like a 4-hour race to these guys because, again, I won't say the extra lap, but the fact that they are running 5 laps versus 4, which again translates still into that 2-hour time frame. It's not the time frame that they're thinking about. It's the lap count that goes through their mind oftentimes. Not all riders are like that, but often a lot of riders do look at it that direction. And even the ones that aren't sometimes fall victim to it on occasion, if that makes sense. It does, it should. Hey, by the way, if you're looking for your Johnny Gallagher and Landon Wolf t-shirts, you can get those at Moto Tees. With Bryson Neal back up to the number 2 spot, and it's this McGill checking out. McGill into that number 3 position. So that was Bryson Neal in second, McGill in the number 3 spot here at the Monster Mile. And there is McClure now, that number 5 machine right there. He is getting well within striking distance of what's going on. Where's Hunter Hart? Where's Chris Borch? They shouldn't be too far behind. They were catching up to, I believe, that rider last time around. So we're going to be watching Hunter Hart and the rest of the field. Hunter was actually up to a 4th place position of Jared McClure. I'm sorry, Hunter was in 7th place position. John Glotta is the next rider should be seeing through, I think. Glotta was about 30 seconds down, so that should put him about right now if he hasn't already come through. I might have missed him going through there. No, that most likely there was Glotta, the way he was riding his machine. And Chris Borch behind him in the on the number 3, coming out of the Monster Mile is what we're looking for. And that was Hart, I believe, going through in the 7th place position there. So we saw Glotta, we saw Borch, and Hunter Hart checking in. So no changes in their positions as they come out of that Monster Mile here on the backside of things. Leaders due in any time now. Walker Fowler should be checking in at the finish line according to timing and scoring. So we get an idea what they're looking like out on the course. And as they make their way in, should be seeing a white flag this time around for the number 1 of Walker Fowler. There at the finish line. Again, about 20 seconds out. I think this is near that 9-mile marker, if I think if what Landon was saying earlier is correct. And look at that. Look at those ruts. They're getting deep. They're getting full of roots. They're getting full of tree branches, and rocks are starting to come out, but there's no solid rock bases, even though there's pebbles and stones in the dirt. It's not the kind of rock base that these guys often get in the northern rounds of GNCC racing. And cresting the moto track here. Our leaders coming back onto the moto track. Walker Fowler, according to timing and scoring, is going to be late. Actually, this isn't the moto track. This is the finish line region. That looks like the moto track. Finish line, that I remember that area now. Looks like a moto track the way they come out of there, but Walker Fowler coming in. Again, he slowed his pace down according to this. He had a 25.56 last time around, and as he checks in for the white flag this time, a 26.08. So he didn't slow down a whole lot, but he did lose a little bit of time. We'll see what happens with Bryson Neal and Adam McGill. Remember, they've been in a torrid battle through this 4th lap of racing. We've seen actually McGill out ahead of Bryson Neal at one point in this battle, but Yeah, it has since then shaped up and changed up quite a bit. We see that McClure catching up. Glotta's gotten a lot closer. Borich is in there as well. So these guys should all be checking in a moment as we watch Walker in his celebratory lap, final lap. If he can hang on to this and take the checkers, he'll take the big win. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe last year at this racetrack, it was Chris Borich that took the win. Borich, I know, was hoping for big things out of this race after performing such top-notch and at such a level last year, but just being in the top 5 would be pretty impressive. Bryson Neal in second, and yeah, there's Bryson Neal coming around toward the finish line now. So Walker Fowler going through the pits for the final time. Bryson Neal, I'm going to say somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 2 minutes down off the rest of the field now. Again, Bryson, I mean, as fast as he's going, he doesn't look like the aggressive Bryson Neal that we're used to seeing. Is it the heat? Is it the conditions of the sand? Is he just trying to change things up and ride a little smarter race? 1 minute and 27 seconds. Not quite the 2 minutes I anticipated, but still a little more time added on, about 30 seconds. A 26:33 lap time for Bryson Neal that time around. And that should mean that, well, I'll tell you, yeah, there he is. I was going to say, I thought he was a little closer than that. About 18 back is Adam McGill in 4th. And I'm thinking within the next 15, 20 seconds, we should be seeing McClure in. And there's McClure in. He's now 8.8 seconds, close just like I thought. And John Glotta should be checking in probably within the 22nd time frame of Jared McClure. If we're watching this right, see where we are on timing and scoring as we wait for Glotta to check in now. An hour and 39, I'll call them hour and 40 minutes into this race now. And maybe Glotta a little further back than what I thought whenever we were counting back to that one, and maybe losing some spot out there. I don't see Chris Borich coming in. There's Chris Borich. That may have been Glotta just ahead of him as I turned my head there just for a moment at the finish line. It is John Glotta, 42 seconds back now, and that is Chris Borich running in that number 6 position. No, Hunter Hart has gotten around. I swear I seen the Phoenix Racing Honda, unless that was Eller or one of the other guys checking in from the other classes out there. Okay, so here it is. Fowler, Neal, McGill, 1, 2, and 3. Jared McClure in 4th. John Glotta Jr. in 5th. Hunter Hart now is 6th. Still no sign of 7th place, but again, we may have some issues with Chris Borich's transponder. I think that might have been something we were looking at earlier in the race, so he may be right where we said he was. No, he's in 7th place. He checks in 24.5 seconds behind Hunter Hart, so that was a different Honda that I saw out there, not Chris Borich's Phoenix Racing Honda. Say again. All right, Walker Fowler now making his way onto the moto track. That's the second turn region, I believe, or is that the first turn and then into the third turn? Yeah, they got to do the whole shot. They got to do the whole shot and everything. So that wasn't Walker. Sorry about that. Getting some unfresh intel, but we saw some pretty stiff talent no matter. And there's Walker. We just got to wait just a few more seconds to see Walker coming around. And of course, Walker Fowler, look at this race course. Again, coming out of the start regions and back onto the moto track. We go with these guys now. Fowler, a pretty good motocrosser himself. Not necessarily showcasing any talents here today because it's all about the win, baby. Win number 5 of 5 so far in 2020, and you know, I know he don't want to talk about it, but I know a lot of people are starting to think it as we approach the halfway point. Can he go the entire year without being beaten? And under normal circumstances, you might not ask this question so early in the season, but man, the pure dominance that Walker Fowler has just shown. And for those of you folks that don't want to hear about it, don't like to hear about it, Walker, 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 well, there's a reason why it's Walker, 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 because Walker is doing it. Walker is just making amazing strides and turning heads, and I think setting the ATV racing world on its ear as far as what's capable on an ATV through these woods in this Grand National Cross Country Championship race. And yeah, and of course this Walker Fowler rolls through this one, folks. You remember a year ago when we were here, Chris Borch, you know, again, leading into the last laps, not really sure how it was all going to unfold, but Chris Borch was able to pull one out and actually win number 75, a very historic win at Camp Coker just 1 year ago. And with Walker Fowler out front, you know, we're kind of anticipating that to happen again, but the way the conditions are, who knows what we can expect. Let's take a look at the highlights from last year's race when Chris Borch took win number 75 here at the Camp Coker Bull at GNCC. Well, as you can see, there were some rain showers and a little bit of mud and water in some places, but overall this was a dry, dusty racetrack last year. Walker Fowler getting out to the early lead in it. The number 5 then of Cole Richardson, the Coal Train, running back in the number 2 position. Not a lot of difference. There was the number 4 of Jared McClure last year. He's number 5. They kind of switched numbers out there. But as this race wore on, obviously riders finding mud out there, and seems like something that we can do here in South Carolina at Marie's Sportsman Preserve for the Camp Coker Bull at GNCC. But as this day wore on, you know, you find yourself thinking that, well, we got it locked in. This is the way it's going to finish. And then, again, you know, a change happened here and a change happened there. But I think one of the most important things is how solid and how hard of a race that Chris Borch put forth last year. And you can see here as we're nearing the completion of the race that Chris Borch is right there with Walker Fowler within striking distance and keeping him in sight. And that's exactly what you have to do in order to beat Walker Fowler. You got to have him in sight, and you got to present yourself with the possibility and the opportunities to make passes and possibly take the win on Walker Fowler, because he's not going to give it to you. Even if you're pushing him out there, he's not going to give it to you. You're going to have to work for it no matter what. Well, Chris Borch went to work, and the old gunslinger himself was able to finally pull out into the number 1 position, making his way around Walker Fowler, and, of course, eventually to the finish line chicanes, where there was a crowd of people joined around in celebration of win number 75 for GNCC's rider with the most wins in history, more than Eddie Lojak, more than Caleb Russell, more than anyone, more than Barry Hawk. It is Chris Borch with 75 overall GNCC wins. Here's your third place ride checking in now. Adam McGill, I believe we're starting to see that open up just a little bit. Jared McClure should probably start to put some pressure on here pretty soon, if that is the case. Glotta might be another rider we're going to watch out for. Glotta, if he catches a glimpse of Adam McGill, it's all over for Adam. And even with that, maybe a pit board's all it's going to take to say he's right there. And that might inspire the young rookie to set challenges for himself here late in the race today. Again, I know he's got a great training regimen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We know he's got the speed. It's just the experience that this young man is lacking, and maybe a little confidence. But rides like today, rides like 2 weeks ago in Georgia, might be the confidence-inspiring rides that he's been looking for that may put him into those positions to start challenging for those podium positions in the future. 4 laps complete, working on lap number 5. Leaders due in about 17 minutes. That will put us just about 2 hours and 3 minutes into the race, so a little over a 2-hour race. Again, if we cut it to, or if we just ran 4 laps, we would have only been in the 2 hour and 36 minute mark, which is way too short, or an hour and 36 minute mark, which is way too short for an ATV main event here at the GNCC. So doing the calculations and the math, yep, 1 more lap, that'll put us right at 2 hours. Actually about 2:02 to 2:03 now as we do some math, but we'll see where it's at whenever the checkers finally fly. It's an even playing field. Everybody's got to run the same amount of time in the same racetrack out here. As you can see, some of the heat really starting to maybe play its toll on some of these B-class riders, as they don't seem to be so aggressive here late in the race. You know, early part of the race, these guys were trying to blitz these whoops and these rhythm sections and things like that. Not so much now that the scenario
has changed with the heat. And I can't remember how hot it was here last year. I have to think it was warm last year. Uh-oh. Borich in the pits right now. What's going on with that? It looks like fresh gloves for Chris Borich. Fresh goggles in for Chris Borich as he is in and out. And I don't know if that was that couldn't have been scheduled right now. Mikey Wayne's has got to be someplace close by. He'll get a word on what's going on. We've seen Wayne Eller there. Wayne, one of the most relaxed individuals you're going to find, man. He keeps you calm. If anybody is wound up, Wayne will keep you calm, man. Calm down, man. We'll get to this. We'll make this happen. If we go too fast, we might make a mistake. So Wayne likes to take his time, make sure he gets everything right, and that's the important thing. But under the circumstances, that's probably not a bad idea. Under other circumstances, Wayne knows how to kick it up a notch again. But we'll get a word in from Mikey, hopefully, from about what Wayne has to say about what's going on with Chris Borich. Maybe Joe Borich has got the word, but Chris came in, he changed gloves, got a fresh pair of goggles and a fresh drink, and he is off and rolling. An hour and 49 minutes into this race now as we are waiting at the Monster Mile once again for our leader, Walker Fowler, who has amassed a 1 minute and 30-plus second lead over Bryson Neal. Adam McGill now 20 seconds behind Bryson Neal, and Jared McClure right there, closing in on the 521 for that podium position, along with, it looks like, John Glotta Jr. It looks like our leaders starting to make their way through the Monster Mile, out of this section of the Monster Mile anyway. So waiting on that second and third place position. So like we said, should be about a minute and a half before we'll see second place position, which we are assuming will be Bryson Neal. But Adam McGill, well, I'm not going to say Adam McGill, just saying the conditions of the track and things happening and changing up is a possibility. The likelihood this time, maybe not so much, because like we said, we had an 18-second difference between Neal and McGill last time around. So McGill, or Neal generally can cover those types of scenarios and not feel the pressure from it. But again, not real sure what's in the mindset of Bryson Neal this weekend. As aggressive as and fast a rider as he is, he just doesn't seem to be pushing it. And this might be in the favor of a lot of different things. His bike, himself physically, and realizing the reality of where he can finish and still be a top contender. I know seeing the number 4 of Cole Richardson out of this one has probably sparked and stoked the fire of a lot of these riders, knowing that he will likely lose that second place position overall in points. And somebody's going to be moving up after today. And if that's the case, that's some great inspiration for these riders. And don't think that they haven't seen Cole Richardson off the right side of the track, and don't think they don't know where they're standing in the points right now, because they do. So second place should be coming right about now, I believe. Nope, that is not Bryson Neal. I didn't think it was. I was going to say he's really slowed his pace down if that's him. Cameraman maybe getting a little bit excited, thinking that was him too, but regardless, good racing. Here comes Fowler now out into these open field sections, as he is just so far ahead of the rest of the field. I'm going to say well over a half mile of real estate between he and second place Bryson Neal. And again, alternate line choices out there, taking the grassy sections of the racetrack. The long way around again, but the fast way around, keeping it smooth. Walker smooth. So Fowler out of sight. Now we pick up with second place position. That's not him rolling through, that's lap traffic, but you can see a pretty good pace for a lap rider out here this late in the race, I think. Again, temperature's only in the mid to, well, it's pushing upper 80s right now, but wow, that humidity out there, again, taxing and taking its toll, I believe, on a lot of these riders. So at the 6 mile marker right now, waiting on the second and third place positions. Will we see that battle tightening up between Bryson Neal and Adam McGill? Again, I think the battle's really starting to shape up for third, fourth, and fifth place between McGill, McClure, and Glotta. But we'll know more when we see these guys check in. Long distance shot, as you can see the camera's shaking out there. Either that or we got a really nervous camera guy. No, we got to strategically placing these cameras to get as many shots as possible out here and doing a great job of it. Is this the number 2 now? I believe so. Bryson Neal, yes, in that number 2 spot still. So Neal is checked in. And here he comes around the tree. Let's see if he starts using some of the same lines that Walker does. No, actually, he rides through some heavy stuff out there, which kind of slows him down. But again, Bryson not in that attack mode that we're used to seeing him. He's usually trying to push up through the pack and attack and make passes. And at this point in the race, he's expending himself. And that might be a lot of it. He might just be trying to look at from the science standpoint and see how this one works for him. Well, folks, as we see still second place is that number 2 of Bryson Neal, looking for Adam McGill in that number 3 spot, McClure and Glotto to round out the top 5. We're going to take a quick break here from Society Hill. And, of course, we'll come back for the conclusion of this 5th round of GNCC racing. Stick around. GNCC Live continues after this.
This week in Yamaha history takes us back to the 2007 FMF Still Creek GNCC. Ohio's Jimmy Jarrett grabbed the early hole shot, but it was David Knight who grabbed the early lead. As Knight set out on his mission, the rest of the field set out on a mission of their own. Riders like Shane Watts of Australia, Florida's Garrett Edmondson, Rodney Smith, Paul Whibley, and a young Josh Strain. Early on, it looked like David Knight on the 101 was going to be the man to beat. But behind him lurked a field of hungry competition. Late race issues for David Knight, obviously taking him out of the battle, left the door wide open. And it wasn't long before Barry Hawk found himself battling with Hot Rod Charlie Mullins and, of course, Glenn Kearney. As these riders battled their way through these mountains of North Carolina, they would find themselves not only the victim of the heat of battle, but also the heat of the day. As the battle temperatures rose, so did the thermometer. Nearing the end of the race, before the dust could settle, Barry Hawk and Glenn Kearney were the final two. Swapping the lead back and forth several times before the flying of the checkers, it wasn't until the final turn that Barry Hawk was able to stick his Yamaha into the position to make the pass and take the win at one of GNCC's most historic race finishes. And that's this week in Yamaha history.
Definitely one to remember this week in Yamaha history. Barry Hawk taking a big win there that day. Glenn Kearney and, of course, Shane Watts finishing a little further back in that number 3 position. Here we are, though, in South Carolina today. Not a day of notes and notable things taking place. Walker, I mean, that first lap was a little slicey and dicey. We saw Wesley Wolf up front. We saw a lot of battling going on back and forth between those guys. But once these guys settled in, after lap 1 and lap number 2, it just really started to solidify itself. We got seen a few changes with Bryson Neal and Adam McGill. Jared McClure now in that number 4 spot. John Glotto has ridden a solid race today and holding on to 5th place now, and he's stretched out over Chris Borch in that 6th place. Hunter Hart's another rider that's been vying for a top 5 position today. So though those guys have been doing some battling back there, like we said, just nothing really huge and overwhelming as far as this race is concerned. This has been business as usual, and that's the way Walker Fowler likes it. I can tell you the rest of the field likes business, but they want to create some new business out there. I know that's what they're looking to do. And this might be this first step for Bryson Neal. This might be a plan of attack for Bryson, a totally different plan than what we've seen in the past, because like we said, he's just had to work his way up from so many different deficits, and kind of a little bit on the first lap, but not too much to really wear himself out. It's just that Walker's just stretched things out so much that the extra effort today may not be worth it. Just try to secure yourself a little better in the overall point standings with, of course, Coltrane being out, not even completing lap number 1. That's going to better everybody a little bit, I think, in the overall point standings, or at least give them a little better fighting chance, especially Bryson Neal and the boys. So this is going to be interesting to see what the points look like and how the rest of the season is going to work out. Again, right now, tentatively, we're planning on going to High Point Raceway in a couple of weeks. Keep an eye on GNCCRacing.com to make sure that you are up to date of where and when we are going to be, where we're going to be, because it is an ever changing schedule. It's all TBA, and once we get things solidified, we know they're there, but we're just giving you an idea that it could change, but it looks like it's going to be High Point in 2 weeks. Out near the 11-mile markers, our leaders make their way through one more time. Walker Fowler again on the rails, stretching legs, riding his own race out here. And again, this track has probably been the biggest story of the day so far today. In this race at Society Hill, the track has presented itself to be the biggest obstacle, not necessarily the riders. The riders obviously become an obstacle and part of that track as the track starts to chew up, and especially from this morning, a lot of guys stuck and just a lot of alternate line choices, which may actually have helped these guys in the afternoon out a little bit, those alternate line choices opening up for them and allowing them a little better chance to maybe navigate and get through some of those tighter, tougher situations. Plus, not nearly as many riders on the afternoon race course as they were in the morning, and a lot of the morning riders were also novice class riders, so that might lend its hand to why we saw the challenges out there for those riders also. So Bryson Neal in second, still Adam McGill back in the number 3 spot. Looking at the Monster Mile here. Jared McClure closing in still from that 4th place position. We'll get a better idea, I'm sure, here in a few moments, and if not here, in about 3 minutes, 5 minutes at the checker flag is Walker Fowler. Head full of steam, head down, charging, elbows up, if you will. Making the push out here today, going for, I think, win number 59, if memory serves me correct. Yeah. Win, let's see. Win number 59, Walker Fowler with 58 wins, currently 3rd on the all-time wins list for ATV records. 67 for Bill Ballant, 75 for Chris Borich. He was hoping for 76 here today. There is the 521 checking in now of Adam McGill. So that's your 3rd place ride. I'm expecting to see number 5. And there he comes. That's Sneaky Snake once again sliding by with 4th place position. He looks to be somewhat aggressive here. Looks like he might be trying to close that gap. Somebody must have told him that McGill is slowing down, so he's trying to strike while the iron is hot, and I expect that Glada should be coming through about any time as well back there in that number 6 position. They got some lap traffic here coming through now, or is it? Yeah. And that is John Glada there. Was that Borich just ahead of him? I believe that Borich may have gotten back around him now. So we see the rookie and the elder statesman there, the 6-time champion, battling for that 5th place position back there. So Chris Borich and John Glada got a good battle going on. That Hunter Hart coming in not too far behind them as well on the number 7 machine. He was running just a few seconds behind them, kind of got focused in on what was going on with Glada and Borich there, but he missed the number 7 of Hunter Hart coming through. So things are getting a little bit exciting back outside the top 5 as these riders jockeying for position late in the track. And or late in the race on this final lap, you have to think that they're doing this because, again, it's not just for, well, today's honors, but these points, all the points count, and they all add up, and every point's going to count at the end of round number 13 this season. So these guys are doing everything they can to keep solid here today in Society Hill. And Walker Fowler making his way into the final stretch here at Camp Coker. And it's FMF Camp Coker Bullet GNCC. Fowler looking and around, photos being taken, the fans and the race crew and members and family riders all cheering him on as he makes his way around the final turns now. And set sail, he does it. Hanging loose, my friends, hanging loose, says Walker Fowler as he heads for the finish line and win number 59 here at this Camp Coker Bullet GNCC. Walker Fowler does it again, another historical win added to that, number 59, and of course looks so easy, but I'm sure that Walker's going to tell you it wasn't easy. He had to do most of the work early on in the race, and just relied on skill and talent the rest of the race, and it took him right to where he wanted to be, center of the box if we had a podium today. We will be visiting with these guys in the pits coming up shortly, doing our social distancing with interviewing, of course, and you'll see that we take extra precautions, giving these guys sanitized microphones to ensure that no germs get spread or anything like that. So we're taking every precaution we can in making sure that everyone's safety is first and foremost here in GNCC Racing. As you can see, a lonely winner circle down there. Only a handful of photographers and riders and folks around with their masks on. Again, this is all a part of the protocol. All a part of the protocol that we have to go back to GNCC Racing. And man, just tip of the hat to the families and crew members for stepping up and doing the things that are right and proper to keep us out here doing the things that we love to do going GNCC Racing. Here comes second place position. I believe we should be seeing Bryson Neal, and that is the number 2 of the Bidwell Bullet. Just a week ago in Ohio in his home state, a big win for him there as he lapped the entire field all the way through second place, lapped the entire field of riders to take the win in the OXCR last weekend. But this weekend, hands a little fuller as Walker Fowler certainly put up quite a bit of a fight and a big old punch right there at the beginning that kind of took all the riders out of it once he was able to stretch his legs and put that gap between himself and the rest of the field. At the end of lap number 5, 1 minute and 55 seconds behind Walker Fowler, technically 154.9, but a 26:41 lap time for Bryson Neal. Again, pointing out this looks like a different approach for Bryson Neal than what we've seen so far in seasons and races past and most recently. So got to wonder what is up the sleeve of Bryson Neal right now. And even though that was a 2-minute gap nearly that separated those guys, I think that maybe Bryson might say he took some big step forwards as far as his becoming more of a solid rider. So congratulations to Bryson Neal on his second place finish here today at Camp Coker. Coming across the line in third, Adam McGill, 35 seconds back, and only 1 second behind him was Jared McClure. We knew that McClure was right there, and we knew he was trying to get around. Right now we wait and see, will John Glotta or Chris Borch take that 5th place position? We saw that Chris Borch, I believe, had gotten around Glotta at that last check around that 11-mile marker the last time that we checked in with the riders coming out of that monster mile. And it is Chris Borch in 5th and John Glotta in the number 6 spot. They were 27 seconds behind McClure, and just about 3.8 seconds behind Borch was John Glotta. So it looks like experience pays off. He got the Borch. John Glotta got a real taste of what the Borch is. It wasn't for the win, but it was for a top 5, which I know John Glotta was hoping to be able to get 2 consecutive top 5 finishes here in the 2020 season. So we're going to let these guys cool off and chill out and get themselves in a little better capacities away from folks and in the privacy of their own pits. Mikey Waynes will be heading down to talk to our top 3 overall, congratulate them, get the word on what their race. I'm going to tell you, I would not be surprised if these riders just don't say brutal. Brutal will probably be the word of the day. These guys were really taxed with the conditions of this race course here at Sandy, South Carolina. A beautiful view of our finish line from the Yamaha Skycam. I want to say thanks to our friends at Yamaha Blue Crew Racing. Revs our heart for bringing you in part GNCC Racing and here on RacerTV.com. Also, special thanks to Motorcycle Mechanics Institute. Get there, smarter, faster. Another supporter of GNCC and this broadcast, and our good friends at Specialized E-Turbo Bikes. It's you only faster. And folks, don't forget to log on and keep up to date with that schedule as well for our EMTB GNCC schedule, as we are in the heart of it and things are going strong for the 2020 season in the second ever EMTB GNCC Championship Series. Charlie Mullins again being the man to beat in this one. Still no sign. I thought that Hunter Hart was a little closer, but he must have fallen off. Looking for Hunter Hart in 7th, Wesley Wolf in 8th, Devin Feehan in 9th, and Drew Landers likely in 10th place or better. Maybe worse, but we expect that he's going to take the win out of 27-second lead over Austin Abney. Abney, though, coming from way back. If I remember right, he was like 8th or 9th place there on that first lap, maybe only 7th, but he was way back. And things are, I believe, changing there for him as he's all the way up to 11th place overall. Pretty impressive for him on the 703. So I'm going to say Drew Landers better hope that he's got things going. There was a 27.5-second difference, and he was turning a 36-second faster lap. So Austin Abney should be right there with Drew Landers at the checker flag, and Hunter Hart checking in that 7th place position. We're following Walker Fowler back to his pits. We're going to keep an eye on this battle coming in for the win in the XC2 Pro-Am class. And we're going to head down now in just a moment. We are hearing you. Yes, we can hear you over the microphone. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more from this Camp Coker Bull at GNCC.
It's a big world out there. How do you choose to see it?
Mic check, mic check.
When you crave the long canyons, rocky trails, rutted tracks, and lonely highways, they become a part of you. Podiums and personal records, we choose it all. Because life is about moving and feeling. It's about being connected to the adventure. Some just never pull the trigger. They keep waiting, wondering what it means to wander. It's a big world out there. You just need to ride where you belong.
Inside every Yamaha lives the heart and soul of a competitor. The DNA of a champion. When you ride with us, it revs your heart and becomes a part of you too.
born of family values and a homegrown work ethic. Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
Even when you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. With over 40 years of experience in motorcycle sales and service, we know racing. Our inventory of Yamaha motorcycles, sport bikes, dirt bikes, ATVs, and side-by-sides is extensive and constantly changing. Stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZs. It's why we ride.
And welcome back to GNCC Live from Society Hill, South Carolina, and the FMF Camp Coker Bullet GNCC here at the historic Camp Coker Motocross facility. And, of course, the Marie Preserve here, the hunting preserve. They, wow, I tell you, just a great place to come and visit any time of year, whether you're doing skeet shooting, whether you're duck hunting or something like that. The Marie Sportsman Preserve, a great place to be. They got plenty of fishing ponds here, places to go swimming. This is the ultimate destination if you're an outdoorsman, as far as I'm concerned. Beautiful view of the Skycam there coming from Yamaha Racing, and as well, a big day of racing out here in some very rough, rugged, hot conditions as we get set for our Winner's Circle presentations. A little different than what we've known in the seasons and races past because of the current situation, but with social distancing, here is our podium, and here is Mikey Waynes with our overalls.
Hey, turn your mic on. There you go. That's part of social distancing right there. The technical difficulties are on Adam McGill. But bottom line is this. Man, it's good to see you. I would say on the podium, not necessarily the case this weekend, my friend, but a top 3 in the overall here today, Adam. Walk us through this Camp Coker Bullet.
Yeah, you know, it does feel good to be back up on the podium after such a long hiatus, but I really didn't enjoy, you know, missing you or anybody else really. But no, it was a good day, man. I think we had a decent start, got up in behind Walker, and I just couldn't run with him in the field. It rolled a little bit too much, but, man, we got in the woods. It was like cheating. And I don't know how he got through as well as he did, but he was able to gap me on lap 1, and then I tried really hard just to maintain the rest of the day. And Bryce ended up getting in a pit, and after the pit, we ended up getting him back, and he got me in a pretty good line. And I was like, you know, I'll just settle in right here, and if somebody makes a mistake, you know, I'll be able to capitalize on it. Other than that, it feels good as hell to be back up here.
Well,
not really up here. Not really around here. Not even there.
We're racing. That's what's important.
You.
That's all right. Say words, things, stuff. Talk to us about that finish, man. You kind of had a wild finish. Sounds like you ran out of fuel right there at the finish.
Yeah, so the motor, you know, the Rage motor likes to drink a lot of gas, and, you know, the oversized tank's as big as we can go per limits, or, you know, so we say. And it just drank all the Renegade fuel that I had in the bike, and luckily it fired back up. I seen Jared, and I just blocked him like a son of a gun. And he hit me, and when he bumped me going up the hill, it just, like, chugged just enough to get up through the top. And, you know, I got back over here on fumes, but holy shit, I'm glad it's over. It was a rough one. I kind of figured they was going to really put it to me and make me run over 2 hours.
They did, man. Well, welcome back to the top 3 finish, Adam. We know you don't do this thing alone, my friend. You got some sponsors and other folks you'd like to thank.
No, it's pretty much just by myself.
No. Fair enough.
No, definitely, you know, like thank my dad. It's been a long time since we've been up here, and so, you know, if it wasn't for him, definitely be here. My wife at home, you know, she's probably jump up and down with the pups, and we're going to go eat sushi tomorrow and drink all kinds of Crown, I promise, when I get home. And, you know, obviously all my sponsors, you know, Over Tires, Custom Access Shocks, Lone Star with their DC Pro components, Tire Blocks, Hyper by Weld, IMS, Renegade Race Fuel, RG Honda, Flex Bar, IMS Tanks, Alco Cleaners, FMF Pipes, Wiseco Piston, Henson Clutches. We have DP Brakes and Rotors, Sunstar Chains and Sprockets, Cometic Gaskets, and, you know, Pro Graphics. Guys, it feels good as hell to be back up here, but I'm telling you, giving up all that Crown through the week was tough, but I think I might be able to do it for a little bit.
Well, congratulations to you, Adam. And just a day after what, your 50th birthday, right?
Very close, yes, 52.
52.
So, no, 33. So, guys, I really appreciate all the birthday wishes, everybody. Man, I couldn't celebrate a birthday any better than this. Yes, I could, with a crown.
With a crown. There you go, my friends. Congratulations, third place finisher, Adam McGill.
Way to go, Gator, and what a day he's able to put on out here. And, you know, some days you feel it, some days you don't. And today, man, the Gator was definitely on it. So congratulations to Adam McGill. He comes away with a third-place position finish in some very tough conditions as far as racing is concerned. We'll be heading up to the Bryson Neal pits and the Walker Fowler pits coming up here in just a few moments. But as you can see, another healthy turnout of riders and families and crew members coming out to the GNCC. You can see these beautiful ponds. This is just a couple of them. We've got some new. If you look off to the right on the Yamaha Skycam there, you see the platform that we have places to jump off. There's another deck over there. I think there's a slide. They've got 2 new zip lines that they put in over there. So pretty cool amenities as far as the swimming aspect of it is concerned. And a lot of fun for the kids. A lot of places to go fishing out here for the kids this weekend. And again, like we said, this is a sportsman's preserve. A lot of places, they're not doing it this weekend, obviously, but or clay pigeon shooting and different things like that. So again, thanks to Maurice Sportsman's Preserve for allowing us this awesome and amazing opportunity to be back here. We were scheduled to be here, but because of the quarantine and everything earlier, and we weren't sure how things were going to go, but fortunately the great state of South Carolina began to open up, and it afforded us this luxury and this opportunity to do exactly what we're doing here today. A beautiful view of the skyline there this evening, this afternoon as well. Couldn't ask for a better day. It's gotten hot. We've seen conditions where it looked like it was going to just open up and throw down rain like you wouldn't believe, which it has been doing for the last 2 or 3 weeks in this area. But fortunately, enough has skirted around us here at this particular property that it has allowed us this opportunity to go race a great race day today here. Taking a look at the Rocky Mountain ATV MC top 10 unofficial results. Again, Josh Merritt will take a 10th place position. We see Austin Abney, who took the win in the XC2 class. I told you that he and, of course, the number 14 of Drew Landers pretty tight there, and Abney was coming on strong, and it looked like he might have that position if lap times were any indication. John Glotta back to the 8th place position. He falls out behind Hunter Hartman, who takes 7th. Actually, John Glotta Jr., how did he finish in 2 different places there? I believe that was Wesley Wolf in the 8th place position. Sorry about that. John Glotta is 6th place. Chris Borch in 5th. Jared McClure in 4th place. Again, McGill in that 3rd place position. Bryson Neal in 2nd. And Walker Fowler takes win number 5 in 5 races. That's a 5-race sweep so far here in 2020. If you're keeping count, it is so far a perfect season. Can he keep that perfect season going as we roll into High Point in a couple of weeks? A lot of people are going to be wondering that very same thing, and I think it's going to bring the race fans out in droves to see if we are on the verge of a historic championship season by Walker Fowler, one of the greatest ATV racers of all times in our midst right here, right now, before our very eyes. Folks, you don't realize what kind of bit of history you are witnessing when you're watching Walker Fowler race out there on this racetrack at these times. Sounds like we're getting close to getting ready down there, so as soon as Mikey and those guys are ready, we'll let you know.
All right, sounds like we're ready for Bryson Neal. Sorry, Rodney, if I stepped over you right there. Didn't quite hear everything. But Bryson Neal, man, a second-place finish here today in what was kind of a low-key but gnarly Camp Coker bullet.
Yeah, man. You know, last year this race was a little bit wet, and it ended up being pretty good, and everyone ran small tires, and there's some bad spots, but this year is, man, it was a tough call between putting on small tires or big tires, and threw them on very last minute, and got tangled up with the guys in the first corner. Almost wrecked, way back, and I was thankful I put on the big tires because I put them to use the first 2 laps, took some big chances through some holes, got up through the pack pretty quick. Adam was riding really good, caught him, got my pit stop, got some fresh water, fresh goggles, and then I was able to get in second place and just kind of cruise on to the finish. It was a hot, rough one today, and just very thankful to get this machine across. This race was pretty gnarly today.
Well, Bryson, let me ask you this one. What's it going to take to get out in front of the number 1 Walker Fowler this season?
I just got to start with him, man. He started right with me, and I made a little pass to him, and he got me right back, and he got up the ladder way quicker than me. By the time I climbed up the ladder, he already had a gap, and you just can't let him get that gap on that first lap. You know, it's so hard to make up the time because he's so fast and consistent. Got to get with him right off the rip. I really like the next 2 tracks. You know, I got the local Athens, Ohio coming up 30 minutes away, and High Point, 3 hours. You know, both of those have raced their times, and looking forward to hopefully get up there and banging bars with the best of them, and got to get a win, man. We're getting hungry for it.
Bryson, go get that win in a couple of weeks, my friend. Just like everybody else, we know you don't do it alone. Who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank my dad, my mom, my sister, my girlfriend Brooke, a huge part of my program. My Uncle Mike and Danny and Kylie, they came and helped hit me today. That's huge. They're like my other family, you know, from up Ohio. They're from the next county over at Meigs, and I appreciate the heck out of them coming down today and taking the time out and hitting me and helping me. I like to thank CST Tires, LP Box, Casey at Impact Solutions, DWT Wheels, Hauser Racing Products, FMF Exhaust, Henson Clutch Components, X-Brand Goggles, Moose Racing Gear, Wiseco Pistons, Twin Air, Checkered, Mike Bars, Acerbix, Precision, Texture Tech. I like Quad Tech C. Sunstar Chains, Sprockets, all the fans today for pointing them good lines and getting us through those heck of a holes.
And there you go. Congratulations, Bryson Neal taking 2nd place here today at the FMF Camp Coker Bullet.
All righty, thanks a lot, Mikey. Congratulations to Bryson Neal, and as we said, a little different attitude, a little different body language even from Bryson Neal today. You know, even normally after these races, you see a little bit of energy, big smile. Not that he wasn't smiling, not that he wasn't happy, but it's just a little different mindset, I think, this weekend for Bryson. He approached the race totally different. Maybe the frustration, maybe the racetrack, the gnarliness, as he pointed out, being a rough one, just zapping these guys and taking a lot out of them. But just good, consistent run for him at that number 2 spot. Like he says, when we head to our next round of racing, you know, maybe a little more familiar territory for him, but also for the rest of the riders out there. So this is going to be exciting to see if they can keep pace with Walker Fowler when we roll into round number 6 here in a couple weeks up. Scheduled right now at High Point Raceway. And, wow, just you can see, just looking at the pits there behind the pro pits and behind Vendors Row there, how things have really taken its toll as far as the vehicles going through some of these areas. But all in all, I mean, at the same time, as rough as some of those areas are, this facility is in great condition. There are only those areas that are a little lower lying that are holding the water, so that's the only bad spots, but those bad spots are bad. And should be creating, I think, a very exciting race for us come two-wheeler time tomorrow when the motorcycle action gets underway here in the GNCC. Sounds like Mikey Waynes might be ready. Let's head down to the Champs Pits. 5 wins in a row for Walker Fowler. It's win number 59. Mikey?
Well, thanks, Rodney. And that's exactly it. Walker, 5 races, 5 wins. You're off to a hell of a start.
I'm having fun. That's honestly all it is. Knowing the weather up to this point, knowing how brutal this track is, you know, you got to come in with a good mindset, and I knew a podium is what I needed. I've had a really good start to the season, and a podium is what, you know, the championship points I need. Gnarly conditions, rained all week. This place is just bottomless. GNCC track crew did an amazing job making it a raceable course, because if it wasn't a fire road, you were chest deep in muck and gross and tree roots, and like I said, it was gnarly. It was mentally taxing as well as physically taxing. I think, honestly, the mental side of it, trying to remember all the lines, remember where not to go, trying to figure out if it was plugged up, how to get around people, and like I said, it was almost kind of snowshoe-esque. Running water everywhere, just like I said, mentally taxing. But got off to a miserable start, uncommon for me, and knew that I just had to play it cool. And ironically, I saw Johnny Gallagher up towards the front, and I was like, well, he would on a day like this. And I'm bummed for him that he wasn't able to finish there. But, you know, I went from about 10th or 11th up to a top 3 position by the 4-mile marker. And, you know, I just kept my, like I said, kept my cool, kept my head down. That's where I wanted to be. And Johnny was second, got around him, and picked off Wesley Wolf, and then just dropped the hammer. The Gator kind of latched on the first 2 laps, and you know, I'm always happy to see Adam up there. He just had himself a birthday, so happy birthday, Adam. Have some crown on everybody. And, yeah, I just win number 5 in 5 races. You know, the dream's to win them all. And if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to be upset about it. But, man, winning's a good time.
Walker, that was going to be my exact next question. This year just feels reminiscent of that 2017 season. I actually joked about it this morning. I said, with all this rain, what if Johnny comes out and snags a win here today? And then he was out in front for a hot second. How do you compare this season so far here in 2020 to 2017?
Very similar, Mikey. Just like you said, it's, you know, we've had a couple close races. We've had some of the bigger win races. Goodness, just, you know, winning's winning, and that's what my brain knows how to do. And you know, if it doesn't happen, so be it. Championship at the end of the day is what we're aiming for. But like I said, winning's fun, and we're one win away from 60. You know, I thought 50 last year was remarkable, but man, we're on pace to get 60 here shortly, and just keep climbing. And you know, you hate to look into the future that far. One race at a time. Absolutely, these guys. You know, next race I might not win the next 5. You know, that's the beauty of GNCC racing. These guys get hungry, guys get in shape, they figure something out that they didn't do right. And, you know, that's what makes GNCC racing. We overcome adversity with the pandemic, we overcome adversity with the weather, and we overcome our competition, and we keep having a damn good time.
That you are, my friend. Well, congratulations on the win here today. One more thing, I'm sure you've got some sponsors there that you would like to thank.
Absolutely. I just want to give the glory to God first and foremost. Definitely got to give a huge thanks to my mom and dad, my sister, my girlfriend, the Pipers, all my family and friends that just, you know, really, really help keep me focused and doing what I do. It's this racer life isn't the easiest thing, but they, man, they're always there for me. The whole Land Mills, GBC, Yamaha, Fly Racing, all the guys that fly, FMF team, GBC tires, man, them things just dug so good today. And we ran the baby tires. There was only a handful that ran regular size tires, and it was the right call. They just absolutely mopped house today, the GBC tires. I definitely want to thank Scott Goggles. I just saw that one. It was a huge one today. Goggles, I never had to pitch them once, but I sure used up all the film, so thanks, Scott. Alpine Stars, Atlas Neck Brace, Moto Experts, Anti-Gravity Batteries, Gold Speed Wheels, Tire Balls, DP Brakes, let's see, Precision, GYTR, Flex Handlebars, Fuel Customs Intake, Vortex, LSR, all the guys at Lone Star, man, this components on this bike are just top notch. ODI grips, Johnny Jumpin' ODI, thank you guys. Yamalube new this year, coolant, oil, lubricants, everything. It's good, great stuff, built for the Yamaha. UPP, Waynesburg Yamaha, Works Connection, Cometic Gasket, Quadtech seat cover, D&V Trucking, like I said, all the Land Mills guys, my boy Mellon, everyone that was out in the woods for me. Earl, thank you guys so much. That was huge. All the lines and you know, just a good team pit strategy. That was huge for us. And, yeah, Hinson Racing, I think that's about it. Oh, and Ian Harris at SSI, and I lost my thing. It shut off. Oh, there it is. Perfect. There we go.
One more thing. Give me a yes or no. Will you win a race this season by more than 2 minutes?
That has been my goal, and I got within 6 seconds, and I'm pissed.
There you go. Lighting the fire under Walker and everybody else, Rodney.
Hey, I'll tell you what, you got to have some inspiration. Hey, folks, just give you a heads up right now. It will likely start raining within the next 5 minutes or so. We got a small cell. It will be kind of heavy for just about 3 or 4 minutes, and then it'll kind of slack off a little bit. But we do have some rain that's looking like it's going to start here in the next few minutes as we wrap up this day of racing. And, of course, just want to say thanks to everybody, all our sponsors, all of our competitors, and everyone here this weekend, and all of you watching along at RacerTV.com. On behalf of all of us here at Racer TV, Mikey Waynes, Landon Wolf, and myself, Rodney Tomlin, have a great day, everybody. Once again, folks, some rain going to fall. I don't think we got to worry about storms or anything at this particular point, but be on the lookout for some showers to begin to fall. And again, just thanks for coming out. Big day of racing today, and even bigger days of racing ahead for sure, the way things are starting to look. Not only in ATV, but big day of racing coming up tomorrow for the motorcycle side of things. So looking forward to seeing you all back here again tomorrow.